We are live.
Hello, hello. Welcome to News and Nonsense at noon, but it's not. I'm Auntie aka Queer Jamfi, aka the auntie of all aunties, and I'm here with my gorgeouses.
I'm Farrah, resident Caribbean queen.
I'm Nana, aka the Black Fairy, aka Dark and Lovely.
Now we are here with News and Nonsense because the world is literally going to hell in a handbasket, and we need to bring you the news our way. We're going to dig through everything to give you our take on it. We're going to separate the wheat from the chaff, the sack from the crap, what you need to know from what you don't need to know. Your aunties are here to help you. But first of all, we have some announcements. What do they need to do first of all, Nana?
Please, guys, on entry, you need to boop the like button. Boop the like button. Boop it now, please. Let's get those numbers up and share the live as well with like-minded people.
Yes. Or non-like. And also, please, Farrah, tell them what they need to do as well.
So I'm really not with it today. You need to. What do you need to do? You need to sign up to our membership if you haven't already signed up to our membership, and it's £1.99 if you just want to be our friends. And if you want to be our family, it's £4.99. And whilst you're here, please add some comments. We like comments; they help us a lot.
Thank you. And if you've made it this far, you now need to know that we are sharing our opinions. We are not experts. We've just about done enough research to get the story across to you. But this is the Ultimate Aunties WhatsApp group. You want actuals and factuals, ask TLC or Google. Any links shared are for you to go forth and figure it out your own damn selves. We will not be held responsible for any information that we share. We're figuring it out as you are. Thank you, please.
That's it.
Hello, good night. I'm sure that was not right.
It was right. It was.
Was it? Okay.
There was a delay, but it was right.
I don't know what. Anyway, I'm like dazed out today.
But it's fine. We're sending you love. Oh no. Can we get to the comments? And there's one comment I don't want to have because I'm hating with a passion. Who's in the comments? Is Nana frozen? Farrah, you take it. Oh no.
All right, so. Oh, am I frozen? Am I back?
You're back. You're back.
No, you're back. You weren't frozen.
Okay. All right. Who came in first? Okay, we have Jazzy is in first, bright and early. Yvonne White is in the house. Will Smith is with us. Bardi Gang as well. These guys were all there at 12. My bad. Sorry, guys.
Jazzy was in at 9.
And Llewellyn is in the house. Yes. Cher is with us. Lady Lyrics is in the house. Sora is with us as well. Judy B. Monique says, I've finally been able to catch a live. Woohoo! We have Dee in the house as well. And Little Rock is watching us from Accra. She's hitting the rooftops.
Not fair. Not fair. I'm going to be hating on Auntie Sade when she gets there next week. I'm jealous. Want to be in Ghana. All right, guys, news and nonsense. Back on track. Well, we're going to start because we didn't get to it last week. The tariffs. There's a lot going on with the tariffs. And it's been back and forth. So I'll give you an overview of what's been happening with the tariffs. So earlier this month, President Donald Trump introduced global tariffs, including a 10% baseline on all imports and 145. It started off as 35, went up to 104. Now it's on 145% levy on Chinese goods. He says it's to bolster US manufacturing and address long-standing trade imbalances with China in particular. However, his tariff wars have led to market instability and concerns over rising consumer prices. However, in a significant, after all this Billy Badman big ball talk, however, he's now done a 180. He's shifted his policy. Now he's decided to exempt smartphones, computers, and other electronics from these tariffs, providing relief to tech companies and consumers alike. There's a lot of stuff we're going to show. So the first video here, which I wasn't ready and hadn't set up, but bear with me. In a second. Sometimes multitasking is a thing when you're old. Here we go.
There's a new development in the United States escalating trade war with China. Late last night, the White House announced tariff exemptions for tech products, including iPhones. CBS News' Christian Benavides has more.
In a move that marks a significant pivot in President Trump's tariff policy towards China, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection issued new guidance late Friday, stipulating smartphones, computers, and many other tech devices will be exempted from new tariffs by President Trump. The move is good news for big tech companies, notably Apple, which manufactures most of its products in China, including the iPhone. The new guidance also includes exclusions for other electronic devices, including semiconductors, flat panel TVs, flash drives, and memory cards, and is being called something of a retreat in the Trump administration's escalating trade war with China. The White House said Saturday the exemptions were made because President Trump wants to ensure that tech companies have time to move production to the U.S. China's 125% tariff on U.S. goods takes effect this weekend after President Trump raised his tariff to 145% and excluded China from a 90-day pause, setting off a roller coaster week on Wall Street. Late Friday, the president held firm on tariff hikes for China.
We're talking to a lot of countries, and ultimately, we pretty much can do what we want to do, but we want to be fair. We can set the tariff, and they can choose not to deal with us, or they can choose to pay it.
In other global news, the White House concluded a day of talks with Iran Saturday that included discussions of nuclear weaponry.
I want them not to have a nuclear weapon. I want Iran to be a wonderful, great, happy country, but they can't have a nuclear weapon.
Iranian officials called the talks constructive. Discussions
Oh, God.
Oman. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami.
There's so much in that.
Just by the way, this is how China feels about this.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you got no sound.
Sorry?
There's no sound.
I was playing my end. One sec. Did you hear it, Farrah?
No.
You can't hear
Sorry.
it?
It's not playing yet.
No.
No. Maybe it is Insta.
No, but I've played from Insta before.
But we were having this problem on our call.
Okay, hold on, let me start again. Let me start
That
again.
is so strange.
Okay, let me try again.
Try the YouTube link.
That the United States
There we go. Yeah.
is not the totality of the market in the world. So if the United States wants to go in that direction of completely shutting itself out of the China market, be my guest.
Yeah, and China will lose the US market, which, as I've said, is 15%.
We don't care. We don't care. China has been here for 5,000 years. Most of the time, there was no United States, and we survived. And if the United States wants to bully China, we will deal with the situation without the United States. And we expect to survive for another 5,000 years.
When you hear Donald Trump say China wants a deal, it just doesn't know how to go about it. They're proud people. J.D. Vance talks about Chinese peasants. What do you make of their conduct in this respect?
If J.D. Vance thinks that he's dealing with the peasants in China, and I'm proud to be a descendant of the peasants, most of us are descendants of the peasants anyway, that's our tradition. We are farmers before. But now we are one of the leading industrialized economies in the world. So I'm sorry, J.D. Vance doesn't know what he's talking about. And therefore, I don't think there will be China-US dialogue unless the United States changes its attitude towards China. Deal with China as it is. Show respect to China. Show respect to the Chinese people. And don't try to impose your prejudice and biased view about China or about the rest of the world. China is fully prepared to fight to the very end because the world is big enough.
It's gone back.
Yes. Fair.
Yeah. Precisely.
Everything he said was spot on and needs to be said as well. I don't understand the tariff thing. I can put my hands up, and I've tried to watch so much media on this. I still don't understand what he was trying to do other than his brethren's making money.
Yeah.
That's it.
Maybe that was it.
That's it.
Yeah. I think it's a mix. Go on, Farrah.
No, go on.
No, I was going to say it's a mixture of things. I think there's a little bit of insider trading. I was going to play a video from that perspective. Like it's a little bit of insider trading because a couple of them MPs, especially big beach blonde back girl Marjorie Taylor Greene, she apparently bought a bunch of stock just before this announcement. So there's a bit of that's going on. And then overall, it's just, do you actually know what you're doing? And I wanted to play a video from Singapore's Prime Minister, who kind of neatly surmises what's going on.
Okay.
Go on, you go. No, you know. I was just saying that's what I want to play, but go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, if you think about how he's done a U-turn in the last 24 hours by saying that smartphones and tech companies won't be penalized because the tariffs on that he's not going to change them or impose the tariffs on that. That is because that his big billionaire buddies, who are they? They're the tech companies, aren't they? So he wants, it is definitely, we talked about this on the main show, it is definitely about power and about them having the monopoly on the market. There's a lot of small businesses. If you drive out small businesses, who does it all go to? It goes to bigger businesses. They do not want to, as much as they're saying about making everything in America, they don't want to make iPhones. They don't want to make TVs. They don't want to do that. They understand that it's not just about how much it costs in China. It's about the quality of work as well. They have come out, like big tech companies have come out and said that the standard of toolmanship in China is on a different level to how it is in America. They said that you could probably fill a room with the number of people who have the standard of toolmanship that they do in China, because these people have been trained specifically to do this, to deal with these high quality materials in the way that they are for decades. So they understand that. So by saying 125% or 145% on these things, it will drive those people out of business. It will make an iPhone go from $1,000, they were saying, to about $3,500. No, who's going to pay for that? It's not going to happen. And did you hear that?
It wouldn't happen. You ain't got the workforce. Can you remember there was a documentary on Channel 4, or maybe it was Channel 5, and it was Chinese manufacturers trying to teach Americans how to do like an assembly line? It was a whole series. It was so funny, and the Chinese were getting so frustrated because obviously they don't have workers' rights over there. So the guys are like, look, you can't make us work for more than 4 hours. They're like, what are you talking about? You need a break. You do 8 hours. You work, you'll eat before and you eat after. And they're all like striking, and they're like, the thing is, these people, they don't want to work. It was hilarious. You can't make Western people go back in time and be factory workers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not how it goes. It's not the evolution. That's not how it works.
They're not going to be able to pay them either. What they're paying the Chinese companies, what are they going? They're not going to be able to pay people in the Western world the same amount of money. And if they pay them at a rate that is what's the minimum wage, it's still going to end up costing them a lot more than it does to outsource to China. Absolutely. Did you hear that they took there were a few planes worth of iPhones?
The tariffs and just dump them. There's a whole mindset that needs to change, and it's not going to happen in a year, 2 years. It's going to take a long time. If Trump delivers on this, and if his true messaging is like, we want to bring back manufacturing in the US, it's not going to happen overnight. So you are going to bun your people in the immediacy, and it's not going to be. I don't know how long it will take to get a business up and running, going successfully, and finding the employment within, I don't know how many years that's going to take.
They've got to build the factories. They've got to have the actual tools. They've got to have the parts. They've got to have the people. That is going to take decades. It's not an overnight process. Someone can't just say, all right, I'm going to open a factory here, especially as they don't want any immigrants coming over and doing the job. So how are they going to do it?
Exactly. You're not allowed. No one's allowed to be here. So how are you going to do it? It's ill thought out, but it just seems like, Trump plays like he's dumb, but I don't think he's as dumb as he puts out there, but he's also being very stupid.
It's not dumb. He's just about himself. That's really what it is. He's just about him making sure that he is lining his pockets as much as possible. This is a man who's gone bankrupt multiple times. People think that he's smart with money.
They keep using his cronies keep using the art of the deal, that his book, The Art of the Deal. The man has made so many fucked up deals. Why do you keep referencing this book that did not do well? It's like his brand is The Art of the Deal, but how many deals has he done?
And also, he did a lot of deals. The Russians bailed him out with a lot of his businesses. So it's just crazy.
Let's get some
but
comments.
Also, he doesn't pay people. And
Yeah.
he's known for not paying people. Like, it's like he is actually one of the worst businessmen. But I think normal folks, when people say that they're rich and you have done no studying into how they got rich, if they are really wealthy, they just put them on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And at this moment in time, that is a part of like the worshipping of celebrity. It's like that, well, they must be better at life than we are because they've managed to amass what they say is billions. And it's like, well, that's just on paper. If you ask Donald Trump, give me 50 million, could he get you cash? Could he actually produce 50 million in cash? Very few of them can. So it's like, but I feel sorry for the folks that are a part of his cult, because they're the ones that are going to suffer. They're the ones that give it 10, 15 years are going to be peasants like JD Vance is talking about. Because if you got to pay these tariffs off, everything that you're buying is going to become super expensive.
Yeah.
Before you know it, people are going to be eating beans on toast, like standardly. You're not going to be able to afford anything else, let alone eggs. Like, you're not going to be able to buy food.
Let me do you want to get some comments first, or before I play this, or play this first?
Okay, all right. Let me scroll up. El Cid was saying China holds a lot of US debt. Let's hope China don't call in their loans. Will Smith says no one sending their kids to high school in US to wants them their kids making t-shirts and iPhones in a factory somewhere in Virginia for like $2 an hour. It wouldn't be viable. Sora says if this continues, they might. El Cid, I mean, 7 trillion of debt is mad. But with the market right now, the dollar is going down, which means it will cost them less than when the dollar was high. El Cid saying the same. Like, the labor in the US is too high to fathom it. It's not even about manufacturing. And if people had figured that out when they were voting, and he has this whole "Make America Great," everything is marketing. Like, realistically, infrastructure-wise, how can you go against Cambodia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, China in terms of a labor force? You can't.
They're literally the countries. I'm saying the countries are built on the back of manufacturing. That is like, it's from the school to worker bee pipeline is differently built than what we have in the West. We are, even me myself, I'm not working in a factory for hours. I'm tired. I'm just not doing it as well. I think I'm too nice.
Trump's own MAGA merchandise is made in China.
Exactly.
Yes.
All of it.
Because where else are you getting it from? And it's like, you would know this. Sometimes it beggars belief. Realistically, in order to do factories, even over here, when there was a booming factory trade here, it was because of the new wave of immigrants. So it was populated by Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, Africans. Like, it was, that's the trade. They were the ones sewing, making things, ironing the garments. Now, as you get us, the first and second gen, we're not going to work in a factory. I'm not doing the same labor that my mum did. Because you would need the new coming to the country. They are going to do those jobs to get on, to be able to pay their bills and send money back home. You're sending those guys back ships and airplane loads. They're the ones that you would need to be working in your factories and doing your farming. Like, they are the people.
And the same people these are the same countries that have removed the trade, the way they have moved respect for trade jobs as well. What they did, where they steered us into being office workers to keep their their offices going, their businesses going, then they removed the thought of, like, actually, as we talked about before, plumbing, electricians, agriculture, all those things have been removed from the classroom. So where we even having that motive about hard work and labor and physical labor, that's been removed totally. You've undermined the respect for roles like that as well, because actually there's an article that I didn't bring to the table before. There's about Gen Z they want to be middle office workers. Everyone wants to be at the top. Everyone wants to be their own boss right now. You've created a world of individual people that don't want to work in community, don't see the benefit. And it's not even to say that working in a factory is that, because also you have to then look at conditions, because that's not also to celebrate what China is doing and some of those countries are doing. Not just China, those countries that do have worker bee mentalities for their people, that the conditions are terrible. Let's not forget that the conditions are absolutely disgusting and terrible, and no human should be worked like that. So there has to be a trade-off, and I think there is, in the conversation that's happening, there has actually been, what I'm understanding is a problem with the way that China has dominated in the trade space. That it is a problem that they've dominated this space in the way
But
they have.
they've dominated the.
So
they've been allowed to dominate though,
yeah,
because
so-
of consumership.
yeah,
Like people, consumerism, like people, it's everything you just said.
yeah,
The modern day person in America or England or wherever it might be don't want to do this type of work, but they want to consume everything. So if you want to consume all these new things and it's being shoved down your throat, who else is going and China, they have this workforce. It's not like they're not the ones advertising these things, you know. They're just the ones who are making it, because this is the other thing you've got to remember. There are a lot of Chinese goods that are not sold outside of China.
yeah.
So it's not like they're forcing those things down the Western world.
Let me play this.
It's like it can't go the other way round. Like that was the whole thing where I was like, but that's, from what I understand, is just the basics of economics. Like the wealthier countries, it's not going to be fair trade with a poor country because they don't have a consumer base. So they're the workers. So obviously China isn't going to consume as much from America because they have a large population of worker people who are poor. So they're not buying stuff like we are over here. So so it's not going to be fair. Anyway, it's like it can't be fair. It's not going to be fair with Cambodia. It's not going to be fair with Vietnam. So it's like, but that's just the basics. So why are you even doing this other than to be like, we can flex our muscle and we could destroy you if we wanted to, type of thing. But everybody would know that. Like Cambodia would know if the US start withdrawing, like people don't buy their products anymore, their country and people will die. They will know that starvation will come. Like you don't need to do it. They would know this.
It's actual bullying. Even Trump admitted it in that clip that you just played, where he said we can do what we want. It's just bullying. It's everything that you said before, Nana, about them trying to hold on to their power because they know their reign is probably going to end soon. And what are they going to do? They're just bullying up the entire globe.
I think this the Singapore leader has kind of said what we've said, but he just says it in a nice succinct, and he's I don't know what type of leader he is in general, but this is how you'd like at least a leader to discuss the issues at hand, at the very fucking least.
And this
and
is the
increasingly
Singapore Prime Minister.
unstable.
Lawrence Wong.
The recent Liberation Day tariff announcements by the US confirms this stark reality. The era of rules-based globalization and free trade is over. This marks a profound turning point. We are entering a new phase in global affairs, one that is more arbitrary, protectionist, and dangerous. For nearly 80 years since the end of World War II, America was the anchor for the free market economies of the world. It championed free trade and open markets and led efforts to build a multilateral trading system. This WTO system ushered in decades of global growth and stability. It allowed trade to flourish and lifted millions out of poverty. It benefited the world and contributed to America's own economic strength. And objectively, America continues to enjoy unrivaled economic heft. In fact, the US rebounded more quickly than other advanced economies from the COVID pandemic. It has surged ahead of all its major competitors in the advanced industrial world. But not all Americans feel this way about their economy. There are hollowed out towns in what was once America's thriving industrial belt. There are workers whose jobs have disappeared and whose incomes have stagnated. They believe that the American economy is fundamentally broken. Discontent was already visible in the 1990s when protesters disrupted the WTO meeting in Seattle. Frustrations deepened following the global financial crisis of 2008 and more recently after the COVID pandemic. To be clear, the global economic system is in need of reform. Singapore and many others have called for changes, and we have been working with like-minded countries and partners at the WTO to reform its processes. A key concern in America is China. the sense that the US had given away too much in allowing China to join the WTO, and that China competes on an unfair basis, for example, by heavily subsidizing its own companies, putting up non-tariff barriers, and restricting market access to US firms. These concerns should be addressed within the WTO framework. In particular, the trade arrangements and concessions made in the past when China was only 5% of the world's economy should be updated when China now makes up 15% of the world's GDP. And if there are disagreements, they should be resolved through the WTO's dispute resolution settlement system, which has been paralyzed and urgently needs to be restored and reformed. But what the US is doing now is not reform. It is rejecting the very system it created. The US has imposed a blanket 10% tariff on imports for nearly all countries. On top of that, it has layered on higher tariffs, up to 50% for selected countries, especially those that run a trade surplus with the US. According to the administration, the sweeping tariffs are needed to fix America's trade imbalances. But there is nothing inherently wrong about running a trade deficit. It simply means that American consumers are buying more from the world than the world is buying from America.
That's what you said, no.
Moreover, the focus has been solely on the goods trade. That only gives a partial picture. In fact, the US runs a surplus with many of its trading partners in services, exporting software services, education, entertainment, financial and business services.
Exactly.
But this fact has been completely ignored.
There's a lot. It's a good video.
But it's that thing of as we've all been speaking about, like the exports from America in terms of their entertainment is worldwide. Like they take up so much space on scheduling, especially on most countries' various networks. That's a trade like that. And that also is, it actually helps brand America, that most of the world know or have an insight, even a snippet. I know television or films is not real to a proper culture, but we still understand when you're talking, we know your accents, like all of that is a trade as well. He's such an idiot. Like Trump, I mean, I thought he was going to be bad, but I didn't think he was going to be this bad this quick.
He's taking it back to a different era. I've just put something in the group, which is actually a good little video that shows what would happen if everybody cut ties with America. How much
that would be interesting.
Money would be lost.
That would actually be very interesting to see what that would look like, and they may make that happen.
Let's go.
European Union, including UK, Canada, Mexico, and China, cut all ties with the United States. First off, the European Union halts $585 billion in exports to America, collapsing luxury brands like BMW, Mercedes, Louis Vuitton, and Nestle overnight. Boeing loses $100 billion in orders as Airbus takes over global aviation deals once tied to the EU. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and Citibank lose direct access to $176 billion in European financial markets, cutting off critical investments. Meta loses access to 450 million European users, deleting nearly 30% of its global ad revenue overnight. Apple's 42 million annual iPhone sales in Europe disappear, wiping nearly $40 billion off Apple's books. Next up, China cancels $575 billion in trade, instantly slashing imports of soybeans, semiconductors, and aircraft. Next, Canada halts $793 billion in trade, ending oil, gas, and aluminum flows, hitting ExxonMobil, Chevron, and Alcoa hard. Mexico blocks $799 billion in trade, halting 80% of auto parts supply, forcing Ford, GM, and Tesla to idle U.S. factories. What if the European Union, including UK, Canada, Mexico...
I mean,
quite interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, you know what? Strike 22 has asked a question that I was alluding to in our last episode. Like, the question is, what do leaders like Trump and them know about what's coming for them to make these choices in the first place? This is way more sinister than it looks.
Yeah.
And that's I think. That's what I truly think. I think they know
Something's
They know
happening.
what they're doing. They know how this is going to affect normal people, and they don't care. And that's all of them as well, because why isn't all Kamala is doing is being like, I told you so. I think this is all, who's going to be bold enough to do the ridiculous things that is needed. And it's like, you know who will? Trump will do it because he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care. And so it's like, if you know our decline is happening and we can delay it by 20 years by doing these things, and yeah, we may kill 5 million people who may die from poverty because we're doing it, but then those 5 million that die in poverty, we still manage to hold on to our power for longer. The middle classes, yeah, they're going to become poorer, but us billionaires, we're going to be able to hang on to our money and still be wealthy and run this shit. People are going to back you. And I feel like that's probably what's going on. I think they all know. They were just like, Trump is going to be mad enough to do it. Or the Russians have got him.
Mad enough and doesn't mind getting paid to do it.
Yeah. They said that he's the one to do it. I think from the people that are, especially those who are championing him, like, you know, he's got the balls to do it. There has been long, I think the Singapore leader said it as well, there has been long kind of talk, and it's been not generations, years of prime ministers and leaders and presidents have just said, how do we change China's domination on the trade? They've been waiting for someone to do this, but this is not the way to do it. Or is it? I don't know. I actually don't know, because some people are saying, even people who are anti-Trump are saying, maybe this is people have been talking on both sides. How do we do this? How do we do this? This is the kind of like the bomb that's dropped on it. And then what's the fallout? How do you sort it out? Because even though
but the problem is, they're the biggest consumer.
Excuse me.
They are buying more from everybody else. So what do they want people to charge them? It's kind of, it's a little bit insane to me, this whole, we're being charged too much, so we're going to put up our tariffs and all of this stuff. But I actually don't understand where it's going. And it's not just the trade war, it's everything else as well that's happening at the same time. It's the immigration thing, it's the wars, the actual physical wars with these countries. It's them trying to dominate what weapons people can and can't have, like that statement that Trump made about Iran saying, oh, they can't have any nuclear weapons. But you've got nuclear weapons. And you're the only country in the world who has ever actively used a nuclear weapon too in war. And you notoriously fund organizations when you want to bring down governments. That's what you do. You've been doing it for eons. It's literally what you do. So why should we trust you any more than the man next door, especially when you've got a president at the moment who's fucking mad? It's kind of it's quite scary. In fact, I think Strike 22 was right in his previous comment when he was like, "What's happening?" Because it's very scary. If you can just crash everything, not only the economy but just fucking freedom of speech, human rights, all of these things. What the fuck is happening? What do you know?
But then also it's the playing in the toy box thing where you did it, then you had to about turn, because the minute your friends, as we spoke about, say, calm down, slow down. So that's the bit that shows that what's your rhyme or reason, because actually when your Apple brethren call and say, listen, we can't function if you don't stop fucking about, and everything about turns. So there's a little, and that recklessness
that may be. That may all be a part of the plan. That literally may be the long con of it all. Like it's all okay. So obviously for the masses, for them to literally be in chaos, continuously in chaos, we know what's going on. We are then also going to counter feed them information like we don't know what's going on. So it's a loop, isn't it? It goes round and round. We're just being played.
Yeah, hold on. Sorry.
I'll get some comments. All right. So Will Smith says, I think the thing that's hard to get your head around about is that ideologies, I think he was writing, is that they have a specific worldview and interpretation of history. So Trump in his bubble has been going on about tariffs Strike 22 says, for reference, people forget that Texas can actually survive on its own without the rest of the USA, and so can many southern states. So to assume that America will fall is false. El Cid says he is talking trade of tangible stuff and forgets about the other stuff US exports. Yes, definitely. Will Smith says, for decades, no matter how many experts say otherwise, they will keep going ham until they are forced to back down. And then this cat rot says he's crashing stocks so that they can dump stock and buy back when they are lower, makes the most money while doing it. Yeah, definitely. As Stephen A says, the plan was to have an underclass in the US do all the sweatshop jobs that would eventually come back, but the tariffs would need to hold. I don't know if you can get that many workers, but maybe. I don't know. You guys that actually live there, let me know.
Listen,
Yeah,
I saw a clip and there was a guy. There's two things really, and they might sound outlandish, but we've seen a lot of things in our lifetime that we never thought we would see again, right?
Yeah.
There was a clip of a guy and he was saying, well, okay, well, if immigrants are doing all the jobs, who was doing the jobs before the immigrants? Who was doing the jobs before the immigrants?
Well, you had
Slaves.
poor people.
You had slaves.
Yeah.
So if you will shit back enough and you strip people's human rights enough and you make people think that these people are less than you enough, which is what they're doing in Palestine. They're dehumanizing people. You can get to a point where you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the whole thing of like confusing what is up from down and reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you definitely can get people in a bind.
Right, and slaves don't necessarily have to be all black people either. It could just be the extremely poor people that are now in some sort of indentured slavery because they've got to pay off their shit. I'm not talking about everyone's back in shackles and shit like that, but who knows what might happen.
I think you can't do that again with the amount of weaponry that is within the general populace.
Yeah.
Like, so there's just too many people with guns, knives, like access to all of that to make it happen. But you definitely could criminalize a lot of people by changing laws and destabilizing people that have who once had citizenship somewhere. Like, they could easily do that to us and just be like, well, it's just your parents. But
they're doing it in America.
This is it. So it's like they can do that to us very easily.
They're doing it now. People who have citizenship, they are stripping them from their citizenship, and they're saying it's because you don't agree with all of our values.
Yeah.
And it's not even like they're disagreeing majorly. They may just be saying, okay, well, we want freedom of speech, or we want to be able to protest, or free Palestine. They might just be saying stuff like that, and all of a sudden, this freedom of speech thing that Trump and Elon has been going on about no longer makes any sense.
Well, speaking of this, a US immigration judge has ruled that Palestinian student activist Mahmoud Khalil can be deported from the country following his arrest in March during President Trump's crackdown on pro-Palestinian university protesters. The decision has sparked legal challenges and protests from civil rights groups.
The last hour, an immigration judge in Louisiana has ruled that Columbia University grad student Mahmoud Khalil can be deported after the government said Khalil's presence in the U.S. has, quoting here, potentially serious adverse foreign policy consequences. You'll recall Khalil, a green card holder, participated in pro-Palestinian demonstrations on Columbia's campus and was detained by ICE in New York before he was flown to a detention center in Louisiana last month. Khalil now has until April 23rd to challenge the judge's decision. Let's go now to NBC's Laura Jarrett. She's been following this for us. And Laura, explain the judge's reasoning here, and what are we hearing from his legal team?
Yeah, Tom, this basically comes down to the State Department putting forth a terse 2-page memo suggesting that Khalil's activities as a protester and activist on campus were against U.S. national security interests. They put that in a memo, and the Just used that as justification today. Obviously, his lawyers disappointed, pushing back, saying in a statement this time, if Mahmoud can be targeted in this way simply for speaking out for Palestinians and exercising his constitutionally protected right to free speech, this can happen to anyone over any issue. The Trump administration will continue working tirelessly until Mahmoud is free and rightfully returned home to his family and community. Tom, you mentioned he has the ability to challenge this. This is all happening in front of an immigration judge in Louisiana. Unlike sort of the regular federal court process that we also see in all these immigration cases, he still has that avenue in New Jersey. And a judge there has set a hearing to take this issue up, Tom, recognizing that he's now potentially deportable.
Well, and so I was going to ask you that as a follow-up. I mean, he is in Louisiana, and this judge in Louisiana has ruled against him, but one could argue he might find a favorable judge in the New York City area where he's from.
And it's one of the suggestions that he made. He actually addressed the court himself. Khalil did, Tom, and said, look, this is the reason that the Trump administration sent me 1,000 miles away from my family. Obviously, he's based here in New York, was arrested here at his home in New York. So he'll continue to challenge this. But I do think the broader point, aside from just his case, this is really about a test of the limits of the courts and in these immigration contexts where courts really do defer to the executive branch when it comes to immigration and deportation generally, Tom.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking.
I mean, all of the judges, exactly that, they actually are all in cahoots in this as well. I mean, this is something that we should definitely be following. I did see that there was a UK woman who was being held by ICE as well. And so they may issue out a warning as well for travelers traveling to America, like to have your wits about you, because they're locking everybody up.
Yeah,
like
it's indiscriminate.
It's no joke.
It's there's an Australian person as well who's just been sent back. That they were on a valid visa and they've been going back and forth, but now.
And he went for a funeral. He went to spread his sister's ashes. He literally went for 2 days to spread his sister's ashes. He came back and they told him, no, Trump's in power now.
Yeah.
We're doing things how it should have been done. It's actually happened to a few people. There was I think a Chinese woman, and she I think she was a medical student, and they stripped her of her green card, and she's had to vote. It's happening to a few people.
Her back. Yeah, no, it's
Did you not see this video as well?
Yep.
Let's see.
Detained Tufts PhD student Mesa Öztürk, who is a Turkish national here on a valid visa, according to attorney, and took her into ICE custody.
Can you imagine how terrifying this would be?
And they've got masks on when they come as well.
Globe shows plainclothes immigration agents approaching Öztürk as she's
No, I would think that was just a scary white man.
Öztürk's attorney has filed a habeas petition in Boston federal court asking her client to be released from ICE custody. Öztürk's arrest comes as the Trump administration is cracking down on legal immigrants here on green cards or visas who have participated in some way or another in pro-Palestinian activism on campuses. However, those who know Öztürk told the Globe that she wasn't necessarily a leader of campus activism at Tufts, though she did support Palestinian human rights. Advocates and professors who knew Öztürk said they were absolutely shocked by the apprehension of her by federal immigration authorities. Questions remain about why Öztürk was apprehended, as she was here legally on a student visa. Her attorneys and community advocates are pushing to get answers.
So this is the other thing as well. They are cracking down on anybody who is anti-Israeli or says anything or says anything against it, and they're calling it anti-Semitism. You can say anything about it, and it's called anti-Semitism. And if that happens, you're deportable, basically. But it's kind of crazy that they're not doing the same. For example, there was a pro-Palestinian march, and they had some Israeli people in a building above where the march was, and they were throwing feces. I saw the videos. They were throwing feces down at the crowds and just throwing like shit off of story buildings. There are people who are like signaling for them to be hanged, like making those kind of gestures, like doing sniper gestures, doing all of these things. And these people are not being arrested. They're not being stopped. Nothing is happening to them. But you can just say free Palestine and someone's coming after you and telling you you can be deported. It's crazy that the American administration is enforcing these laws about a country that doesn't really have anything to do with them. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not like people are saying they're anti-American, but they're conflating it and making it like they're making it seem like it's one and the same thing. It's a different country. So how come you can say something about a different country and be arrested, but you can't? I don't know. It's I'm not making sense, but I just think it's kind of crazy that if it's Israel, you're getting in trouble. If you said the same thing about Sudan, you're not getting in trouble. It's just really wild.
Yeah, this speaks to me that the bigger picture, the whole thing of whatever they think's coming, whatever's going on, is like they're really trying to get everybody out of the country. And then people who are in America are thinking, well, yeah, this is fine. This is exactly what I want, or the MAGA supporters. It's like, what are you being held back for? Why think about what your country's doing?
What
for
are you being held back for?
You traveling is going to get you in trouble. So you even having the freedom is not going to be the same. Now you've got to answer to, even if it's just a silly question like you're American. Oh no, we don't want you around here. And then why do they want to keep you here on this home soil? What's going on? What are they going to do to you? Because you're not going to.
The MAGA supporter. The MAGA supporter was asked. So, what if Jesus wanted to come here? She said, as long as he had the right paperwork.
I mean, it's just.
It's
As long as he came here,
crazy.
Oh, a supporter who's regretting her
You're on
decision.
mute.
Have I not unmuted?
Yeah, you can hear me.
Yeah, you're on mute.
Say anything to President Trump now, what would you say?
I expected better from you. I really did. I expected that you would do what was right and cut waste and fraud and all of those things that you promised us before we elected you in office, but you're not doing that. You're creating a disaster, and I don't know what America is going to look like if this continues.
Did you ever think that your job would be impacted in a Trump administration?
No, absolutely not.
Jennifer Piggott was abruptly fired from her job at the Treasury Department's Bureau of Fiscal Service here in Parkersburg, West Virginia, along with 124 other probationary employees. She voted for Donald Trump and thought her government job would be safe.
But to cut the knees out of the working class Americans just doesn't make sense to me. You know, it's what's the checking account look like, babe? We went through our list of items on our budget and said, what can we get rid of? And we've gotten rid of all of those things, including cable. I had my last review on the 31st of January, and I had the highest rating that you can get on a review, less than 21 days before I was terminated for my performance.
On top of losing her job, Jennifer is facing backlash from both Democrats and Republicans for speaking out. She's received death threats and more.
Our home's been egged. You know, they've hacked my Instagram and posted horrible things about my deceased mother.
Bro, you're not being deported somewhere. Like, come on now. That people are going through some real shit. But you didn't care about that because he was saying he was going to do all of these things. If you had a government job, realistically, when he was talking about trimming the fat off of the government, why would you not thinking that your job could be was going to go?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Trump, at the moment, getting rid of a lot of education workers. Yeah. They're burning books. Well, not burning, sorry. They're getting rid of books. They're banning books. Mm-hmm. They are rewriting history. They're removing people's names from the history books.
Yeah, they're reimagining what America is, pretending it was great. There's just to touch on more people who are regretting. There's these black people that voted for Trump.
Claims he is alone for Thanksgiving and looking for a MAGA family to spend Thanksgiving with after his family disowned him for being MAGA.
And MAGA family, I don't want to spend Thanksgiving alone. Is there please anyone I could spend Thanksgiving with? I have no family, so I would love to spend Thanksgiving with somebody. Please, thank you.
A couple of days later, he posted a video saying none of his MAGA family invited him.
MAGA family, I still haven't found anyone for Thanksgiving. I reached out to some people that commented on my post from the Pennsylvania, South Jersey area, and I got no reply, which kind of really hurts my heart. I reached out to like a couple people, and no one replied. And
you're gonna learn the hard
honestly,
way.
I feel like I'm not gonna have anyone to spend Thanksgiving with. Like 15,000 people commented on the post from all over the country, but I'm in the PA, Jersey area. That's what I'm close to, and no one that I reached out to replied to me. And I guess they just don't want me in their house for Thanksgiving. I don't know. Maybe they don't really feel comfortable, and they changed their mind.
Because you're a
about having
Negro.
Black person in their house, but it makes me really sad. And I just really hope that I find somewhere to go. But I love you all, MAGA family, and I'm gonna keep trying.
Later, he confirmed he is spending Thanksgiving alone since no MAGA family invited him.
MAGA family, I'm sad to announce that I have nowhere to spend Thanksgiving. All the people from the comment section,
it's embarrassing.
Come over, I reached out to them with DMs, but I didn't get a reply. And honestly, I had 2 people in mind that said that I could actually come, but they actually took away their invite because other family members were okay and comfortable with me being in the house because I'm a stranger. So it's not their fault. I don't blame you guys, MAGA family. I still love you. I know being a stranger in Stockholm is really uncomfortable for a lot of people. It is what it is. And thank you for all the support. It's sad to spend Thanksgiving alone, but I'm going to go to the soup kitchen down the street and just see if I can just have a meal there. But thank you all for everything. I also don't have a car. I'm not mobile. So if you were asking me to go somewhere that's more than an hour out of my reach, there was no way I'd be able to get there. But thank you for everything.
Even though none of the MAGA family invited him, he still loved them.
MAGA family, I still love you. All you Democrat, liberal haters, and minorities in the comments that are gonna laugh at me.
Minorities.
Keep laughing. It's cool. Honestly, spending Thanksgiving alone is a humbling and sad experience. But I don't know. All you guys are gonna say, "Oh, I told you so." Ha! How come your MAGA family didn't allow you in the house for Thanksgiving? Whatever. Blah blah blah. Y'all can't get me to turn on my family. Just because I'm spending Thanksgiving alone, I understand the situation and how it can complicate a lot of families and different people. So I'm not offended. But I'm gonna keep writing for the MAGA family, and I'm gonna keep writing for my fellow Trump supporters.
And there's one more.
And that's just how it's gonna be.
The next one.
They done brainwashed his mind. Man, they use a Brillo pad on him, and he clearly doesn't even get the hint. Concepts and thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, I done found my tribe. Hold on, stop scrolling. Stop scrolling, because I done found my tribe.
Oh, really?
MAGA family, AFF family, Trump supporters. Oh my God, I done found my tribe. I am being trolled by a whole set of Black women. Apparently, I'm not a Black woman because I decided to vote for Trump.
A few moments later.
Wait, stop. Stop scrolling real quick. I just need you guys' support in helping to free my son. My son is 23 years old, and he is currently facing 21 years of incarceration due to racial injustice.
Really?
My son was defending himself, and unfortunately, most Black and brown people, individuals, whether you are a man or a woman here in Colorado, do not have the right to use self-defense. The judge denied my son's self-defense. Therefore, that same judge sentenced my son to 21 years in prison.
Yeah, fair. Play stupid games, win silly prizes. What can you say? Is she not embarrassed to come forward and be like, you found it? Talk to your MAGA family then, innit?
Yeah,
like, surely they should help you. You said you found your tribe. Why are you coming to the internet?
Why are you coming to the internet to come talk about it?
Talk about Black and brown problems.
Oh, exactly. You're non-racist people that you supported. It's crazy. Yeah, I just wanted to give a little bit of light relief there because there are some foolish, delusional people who it's that thing where it couldn't be me. Why do you think it couldn't be you? Why? And I think Strike said that actually there's that conception that Americans can't fail because you can survive within your bubble, and people get that individualism that's been promoted, that you just don't think outside of your little immediate community. You don't want to see that. How can this woman be like, I'm a MAGA supporter, and not knowing what MAGA represents? And your son now is 21 years.
I mean, what did he do? Like, did he kill the person?
It sounds like it, because you're going to get 21 years, and it's this whole right to bear arms. You're in a state that sounds like you right to bear arms doesn't apply to Black. Every time there's something like that, where is the NRA? NRA don't speak for Black folks at all, ever. But yet,
no, they don't.
Are so closely associated with MAGA, but yet here you go voting with your chest talking down on black Democrats with your chest, and now you want to appeal, and it will probably be those same good-hearted black people, because we do love to save our own, no matter what. That will come up and ride for you, probably.
Nah, I don't. I think the way the state is, I don't think people are. I don't think she's going to get that groundswell. Although she would want to hope maybe she'll get other fellow muggers to kind of jump on board with her. Probably not. But I think, like Candice Owens, when you sell yourself and you sell yourself dramatically like that, you're not getting the people back again. You're definitely not. No one cares.
Yeah,
you can do the 21 years like a whole load of other people that are inside unjustly as well.
It'd be very interesting. I did want to know what he did, but
he could have done nothing. Black people are in jail for a stupid amount of time, and it doesn't necessarily have to be murder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But she's made a point to say that there's this, he defended himself, right to bear arms. I'm sure he mentioned that in that state. Is a very interesting thing.
Don't speak to Trump about it.
Yeah. That's who you contact. Or Kim Kardashian.
Exactly. There's
oh my God.
a lot of places we can go. Do you want to get some comments while I figure out where we go next? There's no segue today.
Right, let me see what is in here. Strike 22 says blacks more focused on voting for Trump instead of arming themselves and knowing the laws. It's all a big joke. That is true. I mean, I would be considering getting a gun if I was in a state where you could. Can't lie. And then Celine Delon says he's in jail working for muggers prison labor for real. 21 years is a long time, boy.
That's what he's doing.
Oh boy. Cher says, look at Fuentes and his mad rant about black people and black mugger will still support. Is that Nick Fuentes?
Nick Fuentes. I think that's his name.
I did see, I saw Nick Fuentes was up in something, but I didn't finish watching it. I didn't click on the link.
Actually, speaking of prison, because this one's been on the dock for a little minute, and because this, I mean, her son could potentially be experiencing this. What do you guys think of prison labor? Because I think there was a comment earlier on about prison labor. What do you guys think of prison labor? And then there's also the entertainment side, which when I discovered this story, is a bit like, huh? So the Angola prison rodeo that's held at Louisiana State Penitentiary, a former slave plantation, sees incarcerated individuals compete in dangerous rodeo events to entertain crowds. The event generates nearly $2 million annually, while inmates earn as little as 2 cents per hour for the labor. Let me play this.
Not dollars, 2 cents.
2 cents, my friend. Let's go.
For some, the Angola prison rodeo is a tradition, and for more than 5 decades now, people have marked off each Sunday in October to attend that rodeo.
Over the next few weeks, we'll be taking a deeper look into the rodeo and how it impacts not only inmates, but the community as a whole. Tonight, our Justice Henderson takes us behind the scenes and introduces us to the inmates who make the rodeo possible.
What the hell?
We roll into the month of October in Louisiana. That's kind of synonymous with Angola Prison Rodeo.
And it's the inmates who make it all possible.
And bareback riding the bull, convict poker, and guts and glory.
Today I got wild horse race, wild cow milking, bulldog, and guts and glory.
This is our 53rd year of rodeo.
Why? This is crazy.
It's a Louisiana tradition.
But the inmates who volunteer say it's more than a rodeo.
Guts and glory give me a thrill. It's just you standing there while the bull comes, don't know which one to hit. It's amazing.
Despite criticism and even an online petition to end the rodeo, inmates say they want to participate because the hundreds of dollars they can win makes the thrill much more worthwhile.
When I win or I place in the events, I win a certain amount of money. That way I won't have
Come on, bro. You're a good-looking brother. You don't need to do this.
Inmates are new to the rodeo, and others have been doing it 10 plus years, but it all comes down to behavior.
So it's a behavioral modification tool, basically, because if your conduct is good, and one of the things that we do is it's voluntary to participate in the rodeo. You have to have a good conduct record, and you have to have a good duty status, or you can't have any medical concerns.
But for one inmate, the rodeo is personal.
It makes us be a part of society again. You know, it lets them see that we are responsible people and that we can interact, that we're not just criminals, that, you know, we are regular people and that we can all have fun together.
And the inmates say they count down every month until October
I know.
rolls around again.
It's almost like the whole year is based up upon this because, you know, October, every Sunday we're going to come out here.
We have our own way of providing for ourselves, not having to depend on nobody, become too dependent.
I would say that they look at us and they say, you know, maybe these people might have just made one bad decision. They're just regular people like us, you know, that they just had one bad day. But other than that, we're just normal people that like to have fun and like to absorb our talents just like everybody else.
At Angola, Justice Henderson, KTC TV3.
And coming up next week in part 2 of our series, we
Wow,
will begin how
wow,
inmates
wow.
use the rodeo, arts, and crafts section to make money for themselves and the prison.
Yeah, I am very anti prisons making money off of prisoners. I'm anti it because I feel like we know that it went from slavery to them changing the laws to incarcerating a large amount of people who were black, brown, poor in order to achieve the labor that they no longer had. We know that, so I don't like that. I mean, like, okay, so that you said that it makes like 2 million. Where does that money go? Does it help rehabilitate them when they leave? Are they giving housing? Are they given, you know, a starter fund? Like what? They're earning 2 cents a day or something like that. Like,
an hour, which is what does that amount to?
But this is like the prisoners that were helping with the LA fires.
Yeah.
We know that they were, you know, they're putting their lives in danger and they were earning a very small amount of money.
And then when they came out, they weren't guaranteed to even get a job in. They weren't even guaranteed to get a job in the fire department because
they're not.
Didn't have a big record.
You have to have because you've got criminal record. Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, I could. There's a moral conversation, and then there's those who it is voluntary. It is voluntary, but when you're incarcerated and you're staring at, let's set aside what you may have done to be behind bars, because yes, but there's an element of, in quotes, good behavior that allows you to be involved. So on that note, you've displayed good behavior, maybe enough to be rehabilitated when you leave. So you get to make this decision, but the mundane routine of being in jail and the violence and the danger of being in jail, and this prison in particular is quite notorious, you're going to want to do anything to get out of that cell and out of that situation. So yeah, maybe getting thrown around by a bull might be more like a bit of outside. You get to see people. You feel like, as the guy was saying, I feel like I'm doing something.
I can understand why the prisoners do it. I can definitely understand why the prisoners do it. But for me, it's icky because the business of it all. How do we know that particular place isn't incarcerating people at a higher rate so that they can keep people servicing their needs to make this $2 million a year?
Yeah, and
same like a lot of other prisons. How do we know that that's not the reason for these incarcerations?
Yeah, it is definitely a business, but it definitely is like gladiators. So obviously there's an element of when you're in it and you do well, you become a bit of a superstar. People want to see you the next year as well. It's like all of that. No, this is disgusting. It's so barbaric. You would think that the human consciousness has risen above this, like just in terms of evolution, that we would be like, yeah, we're not going to do this. Like we're actually like humans here. Like, I don't even like all of that boring stuff anyway. Crazy.
But the part that you said about people
still
want to see you again, people want to see you again next year. So imagine you're a prisoner, you've been doing well, and you do this thing and you're really good at it. And a lot of people make a lot of money off you. And then next year you're due to be released.
Yeah.
Who's to say that during the course of that 12 months that they don't fuck you up somehow so that you have an extended sentence. And then just before this thing's supposed to happen, they suddenly say, oh, you've been really good. And then you're back doing this. Who's to say? We don't know. I just don't like the business of it all.
No, the business is terrible. Is that, and just because you mentioned gladiators, this was what I was coming to next. How then these are the things where they get exploited and manipulated. So in California, there were some officers accused of facilitating gladiator fights amongst minors.
Los Angeles County officers charged, accused of staging what prosecutors are calling gladiator fights inside a juvenile detention center. After video of one of those fights, first obtained and published by the LA Times last year, helped trigger an investigation.
The officers look more like referees or audience members at a prize fight, not adults charged with the care and supervision of young people.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta says that was just one of at least 69 fights at Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall in the second half of 2023.
We're talking about vulnerable youth, 143 teenagers between the ages of 12 and 18.
The juvenile hall houses youth awaiting trial for serious charges, including robbery and murder. Parents of one of the teens, speaking with NBC Los Angeles, horrified at the footage.
Oh, no.
They say the guards appear to do nothing to help, even appearing to shake hands with one of the boys who hit him.
A space and a time was created for the fights, and their plan was for the fights to happen and for them to stand by as they occurred and not intervene.
The 30 officers charged could face 2 to 6 years in state prison for child abuse if found guilty, according to an indictment unsealed Monday. The president of the union representing the officers said in part in a statement, "Every American is innocent until proven guilty. Our members are entitled to the same presumption of innocence and deserve to be treated with fairness and due process, just as they provide to those in their custody." The county's probation department, which runs the jail, said in a statement all the defendants have been placed on unpaid leave.
This is just additional trauma added on to whatever they've already experienced.
Advocates for juveniles detained at Los Padrinos say the atmosphere of violence is harmful.
They're going to need therapy. They're going to need treatment. They're going to need a level of care that's necessary to help them come back to normalcy.
And that follows a pattern of understaffing and problems at the facility. Last month, we spoke to Steven, who spent time at Los Padrinos for charges that include assault with a deadly weapon.
I've seen a lot of things that a normal 13-year-old isn't supposed to see.
Now 21, he's been in and out of the system since he was 13.
When you think back to your time there, what feeling do you feel?
Just desperation to get out. Like I felt like they were just treated like animals.
Steve Patterson joins us tonight from Los Angeles. Steve, you've been following what's happening at this juvenile hall. You've spoken to people who were detained there, the guards who worked there. There have been a host of issues from these fights to understaffing, all types of things. What changes are people calling for, at least right now, for conditions to improve?
Yeah, Tom, we can start with Sam Lewis in that piece from the Recidivism Coalition. He said he would like to see more community members allowed in the facility, mentoring and counseling, something that's, of course, echoed by an official we spoke to from the DOJ earlier this year, Liz Ryan, who says that juvenile systems across the country too closely mirror our prison systems. Meanwhile, a judge is still weighing a request to just shut down the facility entirely. Tom?
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, so then also those federal cuts and things, all of this is relevant.
Oh my God, that is, it hurts my heart. But I guess that has been juvenile detention centers all around the place, all around the world. This happens.
In the UK as well, yeah.
If you think of the stories from like Rikers, stories from Rikers Island, very similar, like the guards doing exactly the same things. And then when they talk about the short staff, there are staff that it's like the blue wall of silence. You're not going to grass on somebody else because then your life is made hell. So you don't turn up for your shifts. So then there's less people on. There are people that don't want to be a part of this as well, and they have to work in these places. Everybody's traumatized, but those kids, I think they're years inside, like 2 to 6 years for basically child abuse is not okay. Compensation, they need to be paid out as well. Horrible.
You cut out for some of that, but you were saying that people need to be paid compensation.
She's frozen. I think you said something important as well. This does happen in the UK as well. There's a lot of prisons in the UK that have been investigated for lots of fuckeries with the prisoners from wardens, and not wardens, sorry, from prison staff. So, yeah, people take advantage, don't they, when they feel like they are in power. You're on mute.
Yeah, all around, I don't like the prison business of it all. Do you know what? And to be fair, if it was organized properly, right, and we didn't have corruption, and you give them this, we talk about it a lot of the time, rehabilitation, and the fact that in the second video with the minor detention center, that it's being run like a prison. You're not and then with the young boy talking about from age of 13, he's seen things that he shouldn't have seen before. He's now 21, is in and out of jail, so he's not even rehabilitated yet because he's in and out of jail. His story hasn't finished, and it might not be the last time on the street.
No,
so,
he's institutionalized now.
Yeah, so like it's like, what are you? How can I don't understand why you want this world to be like this. Why would you want a detention center to be run like a prison? Why do you not understand that we're caring adults who know that children aren't just born bad in the majority? At the end of the day, their circumstances lead them to do crazy, wild things. And when you know you have poverty, and you know with specifically certain communities, there's gang prolificness in those spaces where children are so susceptible when they're groomed and they're not given a chance to make their own decisions because they have to fight or flight. There's no other choice. As much as it's not great, you can make a decision not to shoot or kill or sell drugs or whatever, but we know the pressures, and being a child, it's very hard to resist adults who are grooming kids to do these things on their behalf. Why would you want to run an institution just to condition them to be prisoners? Why wouldn't you want to figure out what the hell they're doing? And then you have workers, colleagues that come in and workers that come into the job and see it as a game and then start pitting them against each other. And
because a lot of these people that work in these organizations, they're not doing it out of the good. They're doing it to make money. They're doing it for a job, and then they're doing it. They're organizing these things for their entertainment and also to make more money. They're not in it because they're not going into it clean-hearted. They're not going into it with the idea that they're going to rehabilitate people. And the other thing is that if they're the juvenile detention centers, the Felthams in this country, and those types of places, they are basically setting them up for the next step, which is big man's jail. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, because it's money.
Yeah,
it's like you're talking about a system that would appear fair, where you really would want it to be like, look, you've done bad, and we're going to help you out, and we want you to come back into society and be good. But they don't. They want you to come back to prison. So everything is set up for you to be back in prison, so that you make us more money. Like, we need you to come out, especially as a juvenile, because you are going to meet the bad youths who are going to tell you stuff, and then you're going to be cut off from your circle. So then they're hoping the next time you come in, you're in there for like 6 or 7, 8 years. Then the next time you're in for 20 years, like, they want to rob you of your youth. And that's what I wish more young, especially black boys, would understand. Like,
it's so
this whole, it has been set up to rob you of your youth. And then you'll come out, they'll spit you back out when you're 50, 60. And then you'll realize, oh my God, I was literally food for these guys, but it's too late.
Yeah. It's so, and because I advocate for such harsher sentencing for the adult groomers, not just men, adult groomers who prey on younger boys and girls to do their bidding. The county lines issues that we have over here, all the just gang leaders that see young people as their tools for destruction. They should get the worst sentences, and let's have more sense and care for the young people that get caught up in the system. And I do not want to sound like I'm advocating for it at all, but at the very fucking least, if you're going to have prisoners in jail doing labor for a fee or doing something, then be respectful, train them to come out and be able to work in the community again. Give them at least a decent enough wage, maybe not so that people see it as a viable place. Yeah, I go to prison, I can get money. Not like that. But at least if you're shown to be on good behavior, if you're shown to be like, actually, if you are released into society, you won't be a menace, you'll be trained up, and your fucking criminal record won't be a stain on your record that will stop you from prospering. That's the part that's just so dirty, that you're going to use their labor, pay the minimum, and then not.
The problem. When they come out, they can't get jobs. That is the problem.
Wild. It's absolutely wild. Let's get some comments to load.
It definitely is. It definitely. But I mean, if you think about it, there ain't even jobs at the moment. It's not even like there's jobs out there for kids that are doing education to move into. It's like it's dire. It is dire for a young person trying to get a job at the moment. So it's sad. It's sad.
All right, let's get some comments.
We have Celine Dillon says prisons are private contractors run for profit. And Strike 22 says if prison was fair, you'd see more millionaires and billionaires in there. Most definitely. And this cat rock says this is Diggady's story. And man, that boy, he hurts my heart. He
Honestly,
really does hurt my heart.
Yeah, definitely.
I was actually going to play. Let's go. Or we can discuss the Diggity. I had that to talk about as well. Yeah, let's talk about Diggity for a second. So, for those of you who don't know, UK rapper Nathan Tokossi, known as Dig Dat, has been found. Oh, not even Diggity. Dig Dat. This is the other one.
Dig Dat is somebody else. Yeah.
It's a similar thing. Has been found guilty of attempted murder after a drive-by shooting in Notting Hill, West London. But then you've got I suppose these people that.
So to go back on to Diggity,
go on.
Because Diggity is actually inside for dealing, and he has been basically from since he was a kid. He's gone to juvie before, like Feltham, or he was in another institution. He came out. Then he had a ban on his rap lyrics, like they had to be quite sanitary for him to carry on. And then his career was taking off. He was just like getting that it's going to happen for him. And then his house gets raided and the boy is still dealing. Now, it's the folly of, that they are watching you. They tell you that they have been watching you every year. This, but he was still dealing and now he's inside. I think he's got like 3.5 years or something. But it's just such a shame because he had such a promising career, but he was in that kind of criminal locked in space where everybody around him is shot in as well, and it's just such a shame. For the
Americans, he's also in Supercell. He's one of the opposite gang members in Supercell.
It's a major hit as he's sentenced to nearly 4 years in prison. When can he be released, and what does this mean for his future? UK drill rapper Reese Herbert, better known as Digga D, has been sentenced to 3 years and 11 months in prison for supplying and importing cannabis. The 24-year-old was found guilty at Lincoln Crown Court after admitting to importing 5.6 kilograms of cannabis in July 2023 and supplying 45 kilograms of cannabis between October 2022 and February 2024. Digga D was arrested in February 2024 while live streaming on Instagram, a moment that quickly went viral. Authorities have been investigating him for months, and during a Newton hearing in December, prosecutors claimed that he was involved in the supply of up to 60 kilograms of cannabis, a claim he denied. However, the court determined that he was responsible for at least 50.65 kilograms, leading to his conviction. Despite the lengthy sentence, Digga D could be released as early as July 2025 if he qualifies for early release after serving half of his sentence behind bars. His legal team emphasized that the prison time will be a huge setback for his music career. His lawyer, James Scobie KC, stated, "It is very, very sad and disappointing that he has had at the very least a year of his productive working life behind bars." During sentencing, a letter from Digga D's mother was read in court, revealing that he has been reading the Bible daily in prison and has expressed remorse for his actions. The police, however, saw the case differently. Detective Constable Jacob Saville of the Metropolitan Police stated, "Drugs and the associated criminality they bring devastates communities, and we will continue to identify and arrest those responsible who engage in this activity." This sentencing marks another major legal hurdle in Digga D's career. The question now is, what happens when he comes home? Will he bounce back stronger, or is this the end of his rap career? Let us know your thoughts.
So there's that. And then there is the
it's just such a shame.
Yeah.
Same thing. I don't know if it's just more repeating, but it's a Dig Dat is also in the same situation. So there's a thing when it comes to
Shocking turn of events. Rapper Dig Dat has been found guilty of attempted murder in a drive-by shooting that left the victim miraculously alive. What led this rising star to such a violent act? Let's delve into the details. Nathan Tokosi, better known as Dig Dat, a prominent figure in the UK drill scene, has been convicted of attempted murder following a brazen drive-by shooting in Notting Hill, West London. The victim, Daniel Offentau, also known as Striker from the group CGM, was shot multiple times while seated in his car on November 20th, 2023. Reports suggest that the motive behind this violent act stems from a prior incident where Dig Dat was allegedly set up and robbed of his jewelry. It's rumored that social media influencer Laya Mai played a role in this setup, leading to tensions between Dig Dat and members of CGM. During the trial, evidence revealed that Dig Dat was in a stolen Audi that pulled up beside Offentau's Mitsubishi. At least 6 shots were fired from the rear passenger window, striking Offentau in the head, mouth, and body. Miraculously, he survived the attack. The court also heard that Dig Dat had borrowed a BMW to make 2 trips from his father's home in Deptford to Notting Hill on consecutive nights leading up to the shooting. DNA evidence linked him to the crime scene, solidifying the prosecution's case. This conviction marks a significant downfall for Dig Dat, whose single Air Force peaked at number 20 on the UK singles chart. Once praised for his witty wordplay and contribution to the drill scene, he's now facing a substantial prison sentence. Sentencing has been adjourned to a later date, but it's clear that this incident serves as a stark reminder of how street conflicts can escalate, leading to life-altering consequences.
As we know. So Houston,
what type of shit is that? Like,
yeah.
Over jewelry though, like, and how did the guy survive? How was he dancing around with, like, what type of gun did you have? There's just so many questions.
I mean,
like, you got shot in your head and you're able to stand up. What was that, a pellet gun?
It might have been a graze, but also then people aren't trained shooters, isn't it? So you're just finding out you're not a trained shooter. You're just doing it to just do it. And that's the thing. And this is I wish I had the clip about that. Someone was talking about the fact that rap artists, if you sold drugs, I need to find a video. If they sold drugs, if you rapped violent lyrics, you're a sellout. They're the first sellouts. So we're talking about the whole prison system, but also we have to speak about a culture that there's part of our culture that glorifies this, and it's very difficult because we don't like to talk bad about ourselves because we're always spoken bad about, but that's that vicious circle, never-ending cycle of accountability that doesn't necessarily get really picked apart because we don't like having this conversation in public because no one wants to be seen like a Candace Owens or a so-and-so and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But at the same time, how do we have this conversation where there's certain things and people say, oh, we have rock and stuff, but there is no other music, I believe. I don't think there's any other music that's as self-destructive as hip-hop and drill can be. I don't think so. We have, yes, variations of other pop music that might talk about death, suicide, but it's not as prolific and it's not adopted as a global culture.
No, I agree. I can't think of anything. I guess maybe rock is influential in a different way, like, you know, like people taking drugs.
Yeah.
And similarly promiscuity as well. But the dealing of it all and the criminality and killing, I don't remember that being a thing with rock music.
It's not, though. That's
definitely
the thing.
Yeah.
We can always talk about the bits and bobs, but we can't deny that. And I'm a part of it because I've bought it, I've shouted it, I've paid for concerts where that's being spoken about. So I'm not exempt. But if I'm honest, I don't know another music that has this level of dissecting and divulging and glorifying this life.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. No, for real.
It's difficult to sit with it, I think. Farrah, what do you want to say?
Say again?
No, I said it's difficult to sit with it. We don't agree.
No, I'm just thinking because that's not where it started. So it's I think it's been corrupted, and I wonder sometimes who's doing the corrupting, who's allowing this certain types of music to be pushed out over others.
I think there's that because we know that there's we know the record labels and stuff don't ever. I mean, the record label.
Sorry, just to add what you said, the thing about glorifying, if you think about like gangster rap and stuff like that in the 80s and in the 90s, yeah, they weren't necessarily glorifying. It didn't start off with the glorification of what had happened. It was about some people talking about what they had been through. Whereas now you have people who aren't living that life talking about shit like that as though they do.
Yeah, we do.
So that's what I mean. It's that's why I wonder about who's pushing this rhetoric. Why is that being allowed to come out?
I think it's difficult because I think sometimes when we go to maybe this is what it is, what we can't do. Maybe we cannot separate anything from it, and it is what it is. Because I think when you go into the history of hip hop, you go into who owns the record labels, and I think Strike Trinity said we have spoken about this before. But it's a vicious circle where maybe there's nothing we can do, and this is what it is. But we do know that there's a bunch of, let's talk about our young black children that are getting incarcerated because of the lyrics that they're saying, and some of them are living that life because these boys are living that life. We know those are the celebrities, the Rick Rosses of the world that are talking about still being on the streets, and they're literally not on the streets anymore. But we've got these young boys who are living this.
That's my point.
No, I know that, but
there's a lot of them who are not living that life. Like
no,
there are a lot of them.
Can we talk about the ones, because we know that it's not. We know that there's not a lot. But if we want to drill down, hone in the conversation, because maybe the answer is there's nothing we can do and it is what it is. But at least we know that not every single drill rapper is living the drill life. We know that not every single rapper is talking about drugs and things. We know this, but for those who are, for the Digga D's, the Dig Dats, and all the others, my friend lost her brother because their younger brother is in one of a notorious drill thing, and the boys were looking for him. She killed her brother. This is the boy that we grew up with, a man that
okay.
I think let's hone in on that for a second.
Yeah, because it's not. Are you talking about music, or are you talking about what's happening in the streets? Because there's stuff that's happening in the streets and has been happening in the streets before drill music was even drill music. It's been happening. And then you get people who are making money off of pretending to be something that they're not. And then you have people who are in this lifestyle and have come through it, and they are talking about their lifestyle. So I think you have to address a lot of different things. It's not just the music. And I'm not saying that there isn't a lot of this stuff that is because we have got to a point now where there is a glorification of gang life, isn't it? We have got to that point. But again, I go back to, where is this coming from? Who is allowing this type of thing to be fed into the community? Who is allowing that type of lifestyle to be without drill, for these things to happen in the community? Where are the guns coming from? Because it ain't black people that are making guns. Where is this all stemming from? Who is actually benefiting from this? So I understand what you mean. Like, obviously, I've had people, we've all lost people. We all know people who've been through some shit. We spoke about last year on the show how there was, gunshots happening in the local community in the middle of a Children's Day or a family day in an area that we grew up in. We know these things. I know one of my sister's good friends was killed in a drive-by shooting recently. So we know that these things happen, but I'm more interested about who is letting this shit happen. Why is that not being stopped? What can we do within these communities? Because that is the question. That's the real question.
I think it is. I don't think it is. The artists are a part of it, but also culturally, what we allow to even be seen as culture symbols, it is rammed down our throats as well. And for young people, obviously all subcultures happen, but subcultures can be cultivated by commerce. And it seemed to be like, as soon as hip hop, it's like they saw how it kind of gravitated and got people together. And I think once gangster rap came along, the initial gangster rap, and they could see how alluring that was to especially young people, in getting young people. And then you have poverty in there as well. I think there definitely was a lot of businessmen who were already criminals who were like, this can be our next set of food. And these young black boys and girls we can elevate the flipping 0.1% of them to mega height, and everybody else is going to think this is going to be our road out of poverty. But we're going to also feed in lots of exploitation, as they do with artists, and lots of criminality. So it's like it's a powder keg, and that's it's alluring to young people, though, that you could be a part of this life and you could make money, and you then will be the local hero, when most of them are not that. Most people shot in don't make any money, and a lot of them end up in prison. But I guess there's the gamble. If you have a hopeless set of folks, what can you do? Or under peer pressure, how do you get them out of it? It's bloody hard.
It is.
I could give my nephew all the money in the world. It doesn't matter, because it's not really, he will say it's about money, but it isn't that. It's about having your peers look up to you in a way like you are some type of a hero. So it's really about self-esteem and all of that. If everything is so negative that they're seeing and is base level, and as people love to coin the term now, low vibrational, how do you even raise a generation of people out of that? And they are food for a lot of people. We can't say the community that are benefiting from this, but the lawyers and the managers, it ain't their kids that are making the music. That's for sure. And that's a problem.
I think
that's a big problem.
That's it to be said. That's it to be said. Because sometimes, because when you see the conversations that happen, and we have it, and you go round and round like who's to blame, and when you have those kind of, when you see the right-wing conversations, and then when they want to make the poster boy of knife crime being a young black boy rather than actually what the true reflection is, the true face of it should be, it's so easy to then not, because you do want to wonder, what is it? There's so many strands, as you said, Farrah. There's like, you've got family setup, you've got financial setup, you've got the actual negative stereotypes that beat down on a person. If you don't have the family or the background or the network or the peer system that can pull you up when you're feeling like, well, why does everyone look at me like I'm a violent, angry animal when I just live in my life? Or maybe I'm having an off day, then I'm getting accused and I'm getting pulled over by the police, all this stuff. So I might as well just be what they say I am. And then when you get to prison, there's nowhere outlet for you to like even channel your anger, channel your frustration, get rehabilitation, get mental counseling. Then you have things like adolescence, all these things. It is that. It's not just one thing, but it's just, I wonder what a parent could do in their home. I wonder what someone looking after a young person can do in that environment. I wonder what, when we go out, as we are 3 Black women who have young people in our family that depend on us, what do we do in our homes in order to help affect change? Is it that we don't listen to certain music so our kids can hear? Is that enough? Is it that you can't?
No.
Or control? What do we do? What's the question?
Okay. I would say, now let's say I could go back to when my nephew was 13 and he first came here from Ghana. So his first year in secondary school went really well, and he actually won a speech prize as well. I think that speech prize put his head up. Like, actually, he did. It's not like he ever had an accent, but he weren't schooled here, so he was a little bit different, and he probably went through a bit of bullying, but then joined the bullies. From then, if I could go back, we should have removed him from the school then and put him in another environment, and maybe he's either going to a school like where my sons are going, so you're in central London, or he's in a school outside of London. So it's like, it's spotting, is this child susceptible to the bullshit? And we should have removed him from then. But honestly, we really did think it was just school. Like, he could just be a little bit rude, like he's very intelligent. So maybe school isn't his thing, but it wasn't until he was like 16 that the criminality set in. And listen, we tried absolutely everything. Once their mind has gone and the peer influence is really real, that's how I know so much about Gabor Mate, because my sister was trying everything for this kid. It's like, when you know that the level of peer pressure and also going through a grooming that we didn't even know until you're in it. You didn't even know that this was going on. You think it's for people in single parent homes that don't have family around them. All they need is All they need is mentors, like all of those tropes. I too believed and would say until you're in it, and it's like, no, he has all the he had the world at his oyster. He could have apprenticeships. People spent money on him. He had counseling, but his mind isn't that he is worthy of that, and there isn't so much outside influence can do. Then it turns into an inside job. And as it stands now, all we can hope is that by the time he gets to 25. He is still here, his brain fuses, and then all of the seeds that we've been planting for the last over a decade does something, and he really changes his life around. That's all you can really hope for. But I think at the beginning stages, really knowing what it is and seeking help immediately. But then there are parts of shame within that as it's going.
Yeah.
So you think, we can keep it in-house, we can sort this out. We can put him in this group. He can go and get mentored here. It's like you try all of the bits, but sometimes it's spotting it early and removing them from the source.
Yeah,
if you can.
And I'm glad that you said that, Nana, because a lot of people do think that, oh, well, what are their family doing? Sometimes the family are doing everything. That you can cut. There are people who come from two-parent, well-off families who choose this because of outside influences, and you may not even know what's happening.
No, until it's a bit too late, you know, until they've got their mind, and that's like the patterning, and then you have the trauma that comes along with it. Like, there's no doubt my nephew definitely suffers from lots of different forms of complex, probably PTSD. Loud noises, he jumps like he's been in a war zone, because we don't know all of the things that he's been through. We don't know. He will give you a little drip of, I've seen this, or but we don't know all of the things that he has experienced in his 22. We don't know. So you kind of got to wait for the other side, for the learning to take place. But it definitely isn't as simple as music. It all contributes to it. It's like the drill music does a little bit. Yeah, it is a network of stuff. It's like you can definitely tell his mood will change if you allow him in your presence to spend a day listening to drill. His mood is dark, it's off. It all feeds in.
Games
It's very,
are
very
also part
hard.
of it.
Gaming,
I definitely think that games are part of it too. Certain types of games.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah, gaming is a thing, because I'm
spend all day killing people online, and you're just online. You become desensitized to certain things, don't you?
Absolutely. I always use this as a very silly. It's a silly metaphor, but it's my experience of. There was a game that I used to play all the time. I think it was Pandemonium, way back in the day, and the way that something about the graphics. This was just like on a Sega Mega Drive. It was not even as high tech as it is today. But the way like if I played that for back to back for hours. And it doesn't happen with my phone game. So this is why this game was significant for me. I would see it behind my eyes before going to bed. And I was in that world for a long time, like the graphics and everything. For a long time, my brain, it's like when you come home from a rave, when we used to rave, and you hear the music and you're still trying to come down off the music, not even drugs high, music high, and still hearing it. That's what this game was like, behind my eyes, the world of Pandemonium. And I loved that game, and I always played it because the immersiveness, and like I tell you, when I tell you this was the 90s, it wasn't like today where you've got real 360 virtual reality, all that type of stuff. So
and you're online with a bunch of different people.
And you're in line with a bunch of different people talking shit in your ears, and this is where this insult culture comes from as well. Tapping in, so gaming is a huge thing as well, and I think that's another thing that parents know about gaming, but you just don't even understand how. If you've never played a computer game in your life, and especially like what I'm saying about the way it can be immersive and take over your mind.
Then this is it, and I think that when young boys are, 12 and 13 and that sort of thing, so before they necessarily start going out and they're on the road, so to speak, and they're in this world, that's it. Kind of starts from there as well.
It does,
because they can become quite addicted to playing these games. The minute they get home, that's what they want to do. They want to get online. They want to play a game. And then they're talking to people you don't know what they're talking about.
I didn't get a video clip of it, but we had that conversation about the UK teen who lost. He actually lost his court case against his parents for sending him to Ghana. So that 14-year-old boy who lost his court case, they moved him from London to a Ghanaian boarding school, fearing he was at risk of gang involvement. The boy claimed he was deceived and pleaded to return, but the judge ruled that the move was out of deep and unconditional love for his safety. His parents said that the UK was too dangerous, citing rising youth violence. The boy's legal team called the verdict a real shock, as similar cases of teens seeking to return to the UK are increasing. And it's that thing, like, I think we said it in the comment, we'll get some comments as well. That's been a method that's always been said. You're going to get sent back home. You're going to get sent back home. I know people close to me that got sent back home and they had the worst. And the person particularly, she went through personal abuse. She got neglected. She got into some bad ways, and I think she's struggling now as an adult. And that's where sometimes it doesn't work, and there's other times where
because it's isolation as well, isn't it?
What do you do versus your kids looks like you're going to get in a gang, going to be stuff, and then you send them back home because you think that's going to be better, but you've got to have the network back at home. But this boy has been told you're not coming back, so that's quite interesting that it was ruled against. He was ruled against.
They must have had evidence that he definitely was involved in something or was around people that are definitely on some type of shit for him not to have been allowed back. I think sometimes it works for the young folks that I know that have been through it. It's very 50-50. And the ones that it worked for, they had a parent in Ghana as well with them. So even though they were in boarding school, it's like their dads were in Ghana. I think when you're just left and there's no family there, or it's a relative that you don't particularly know, it's too messy, and it doesn't always work. And that level of abandonment as well, when they do come back, I think that can just really mess up the family dynamic. It's not as easy as people think it is. Really, it's like the long-term effects. I haven't seen it be very positive for families when that person comes back, especially when they've been tricked into going. And if the boarding school that they've gone to is also violent and traumatic, you've just removed them from one place to another set of circumstances that are going to fuck up their life.
That's if they get to go to boarding school, because Caribbeans, you're not going boarding school. You're going school. If you get shipped, more than likely, let me not speak for everybody, but the people that I know, they never went boarding school. You just got shipped to wherever, and then you're integrated into that society.
And then by force as well. Like you can't bring your English ways. You've got to stand out for being different back home as well. And that could be a negative. People, like if there's jealousy, there's like, who do you think you are? There does need to be some due diligence. I'm glad I wasn't sent. That was a threat, but it never was a reality. But you do think, I mean, these parents, maybe I don't know if the court kind of looked at the situation that he was going into, because maybe the school's good, maybe he has got a good network to come home to. So it's just a choice where buckle down and get yourself together. Or, you know, Midday said she was sent back home and she said it was okay. We had Midday only on. That she went back home. Oh, no, it wasn't okay. Did she say she had a good time or not?
She said she didn't mind it. She wasn't expecting it. She got sick, and that's why she came back.
That's it.
Yeah, but also remember, she also was like, the place that she was, there was a lot of sexual deviancy. There was a lot of bullying. It's just she was okay. She survived it. She was okay. She wasn't a victim there. You know, I've watched so many different Mali creators as well, and they have that as well for a lot of the Somalian girls and boys actually over here. They send them back, and their stories are traumatic. Like lots of them just get beaten, and then you're being re-indoctrinated to be like a good Somali woman or good Somali man, and that is different to how you've been brought up here. So I don't know. I don't really know what the answer is, but I don't think it is sending your children off to an institution to be rehabilitated in another country. I don't think that is the answer. For some, though, sometimes it's for their own safety. I definitely think while my nephew was in Ghana, but that was his decision to go. I think it was for his own safety. But 4 years later, when he's come back, he's still on bullshit. So it didn't really, it kept him safe for a few years. Like, who knows? It's bloody hard, man.
And now, as they get older, to make their own decisions, like, I'm not going back. What do you do when you've got that window of control? So
because he sorted out getting his passport. Once you get to a certain age, he got it back. He bought his ticket back. So, what can you do?
Some people said, someone did say Will Smith goes responding to Ceylon Dealer and said youth centers, there's no more youth centers. And Will Smith said people have been saying the same thing for 30 years. Are we really saying that all this crime and stuff is down to boredom? I was also going to say that youth centers can be breeding grounds for crime. I think we've romanticized the youth center as well, because if kids are on crud, the youth center, and then you're also putting pressure on that poor youth center worker or two or three that are trying to keep it together. They're no mean feat for gangs. I know someone who was running a youth center by the skin of her teeth. Like, they might come and do good for 2 hours, and then they're like, okay, I'm going to meet you down the road. And who wants to be running a youth center knowing that there's potentially could get shot up or someone could get stabbed up in your place because they know where that child is or that young person is every Wednesday, every Tuesday, every Thursday, whatever, when the youth center's on. I do think the removal of youthful activities is a problem. But I think let's be realistic let's not romanticize that youth centers could also be dangerous places for a lot of people.
Yeah, but it depends how long people are going to them. If good can be achieved from youth centers, I will say that.
I do agree. I'm just saying
there are youth center workers that I know, and they do it from a very young age all the way through to teens. And, they encourage the children to learn businesses. They take them on experiences that they wouldn't necessarily have access to. So they are still out there, and I think they are important. And if the idea is that if you go to these organizations, your talents will be fostered, and then you may not have to go out on the road because you're hanging around doing nothing, where people can find you. It's not necessarily about boredom. It's not just that, but if it's the groomers having access to you.
That's true. So saying they specialize in
you know what though, with youth centers. Go on.
I was going to read the comment. They specialize in recognizing talent, providing mentors, and giving talent an outlet. It's not
what I'm saying.
Will Smith counters the youth center thing and is and has always been a myth. The opportunities are there. It's a personal choice that unfortunately kids make, and choices have consequences. I went to a youth center and I had a great time. I'm a girl. I wasn't in that.
I don't think it is. I don't think. I would say for my estate, and it's not one of the biggest, but definitely in Kilburn, there was a lot of youth centers. Like almost every estate has a building that was a youth center. Now, I was a kid when they all started shutting down. And that was at the beginning of lots of kids going on the underground and lashing a tech, basically robbing people of their handbags. And a lot of those boys that got involved in it were a few of my brother's friends. And before the closing of all of the youth centers, these guys they were all then being like, we want to be DJs. And it was a thing. Like, they were all brethren. They started shutting down, and then it turned into, this estate has this crew, that estate has that crew. And there was no unification. Like, there wasn't a place where all of these boys were. So they would head to Oxford Street and start teething. There was definitely a knock-on effect to idleness and hanging around, especially one that was really good. And it had about 6 different youth workers in there. It was really, really fun. When that went, you saw the idleness take off. Now, from like, let's say maybe eight boys that were on my estate that I grew up with, there's only 3 of them left. 5 got killed. And it's like, they weren't even like that, but you saw the change in them, like just criminality just set in and to the area. And now it's like Camden is one of the worst boroughs. They can't say it ain't got anything to do with youth services, because it wasn't like that before, and you saw the shift happen. So it is important. I don't know if you can do that now, though, because it's a different generation and they haven't even been brought up around it. But it should still be attempted, I think.
I think it should be attempted. I think you're right you're not that I was disagreeing, was just positing a perspective. But I think it's like, if it was to happen today, it's the lack of resource, or the resources that it would need, because there is an emotional personality shift in how people see each other. So that, again, we're talking about community, that sense of community, and am I my brother's keeper, or whatever. When you don't see that's where, and I think maybe so when you've got lesser youth centers, like I said, the person that I knew that was running a youth center, it was a lot, they did well, but there's also, it was like the young kids, and then they get to that certain pivotal age. We always talked about that. That's that key teenage moment when your hormones are shifting. That moment when you need to be really focused on, you need hands laid on you to keep you on the right path. If you don't have that, that youth center becomes, that's for kids, or that youth center becomes where I'm going to try my luck, and then you end up getting banned. Then you get, that reinforces that bad person that you think that you want to be, or you think that you are. Then you start staying outside, because there was also like the big kids session, the little kids session, and then the big kids can't come in because they're disrupting. All of that stuff started to happen to this particular youth club, and in the end, I think they shut it down. They had to shut it down because there was too much trouble. The person that was running it didn't get the support because the government weren't interested, and all of that. So you saying that timeline is true, Nana. It's a thing.
Yeah, it was a big shift.
So Bardi Gang says, my cousin got sent back to Jamaica and he came back worse. I can't lie.
Yeah. I've heard that.
Stephanie Morgan says the UK doesn't make it
happens, man.
UK doesn't make it easy to parent with higher costs. Some parents have to work a lot. The environment is bad here. To look at Birmingham in chaos, seeing rubbish bags is psychologically disturbing. And it's even, that's such a good point, because even looking at your environment, you know, downstairs of my block, I refuse to go out the front door, because the way they've done it is like, there's these pivots that come out of or spigots, whatever the hell they're called, that come out of the wall, and pigeons sit on them. And obviously they do their thing. And in the corner of the main door, it can build up. And I remember back in the day when I had more time in my hands, I was very, very Dorothy Cotton about everything around here. I used to call up a lot and used to get on their neck, to the point where I don't know.
You actually said Dorothy Cotton. You didn't even say
not
Cotton. You said Dorothy Cotton. You are hilarious, you know.
Do you know why? For a second, I actually forgot her name. So it was like actually memory. Dot Cotton, Dorothy Cotton Esquire. But I actually got my Dot Cotton on, or Mrs. Mangle on, and was on their neck. And maybe between me and some other people, we got it to the point where they cleaned it up, where it no longer happened. It's now, because of the decline of everything, this is built up. And it gives me the heebie-jeebies when I see it. I go around the back entrance now. That's literally the only reason why I won't walk through my front block entrance, because of this disgusting build-up. So when you have those type of things that make you feel bad about your home, even just simple that, you don't even know what kids are taking in their environment.
It's all of that. It's all of that. If you live in social housing, they actually don't give a shit. They just want you to pay your rent. And then when you want to complain about something, they make you feel bad. And then you have to keep talking about it and emailing and writing and calling and doing all of these things before they come and deal with basics. There are people living with damp and with mold, like to a point of where it's making them seriously unwell. If you live in an environment like that, and then also outside, you're facing another concrete block. There's no greenery around you, or if there is greenery around you, it's fake grass, or it's not even necessarily that, because there's some areas in northwest London that are very green, but it's still like surrounded by estates.
Yeah.
So it's a problem. It's definitely a problem.
I wanted to get into that, but quickly, Gary V, in a conversation about social media and technology making kids worse, Gary V had a different perspective.
Are not getting fucked by social media. Kids are getting fucked by entitlement and delusion. Let me give you, for instance, Gary, you don't understand. The reason all these kids are fucked up is all these people are showing planes and these fancy cars, and it fucks them up. I'm like, do you know what MTV Cribs was? Do you know what Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous was in the 80s? The reason everything feels intense now is you have media at your disposal every minute of the day. You used to go to work for 8 hours and not have media. Like, people don't get it. I'm tired of parents telling me, like, Gary, TikTok's fucking up my 14-year-old. I'm like, take it off their phone. My mom wouldn't let me make decisions at fucking 14. What's happened is parents have become delusional in their request to be friends with their kids And we have no tolerance for inconvenience. There's no fucking ramifications. There's no consequences.
So the kids are going to be all right, but parents, listen to this. Get your act together.
Well, listen, who's in charge here? What the fuck are we talking about? Like, my kids are getting fucked up. Take the phone away. Well, what? Parents are scared. No backbone in parenting. Kids are not.
How do you feel about that, guys? You ain't got no backbone.
No backbone in parenting.
All the time.
Say that again. Say that again.
I said I have because I take shit off my daughter all the time.
There you go. Oh, Celine Dion says.
I mean,
go on.
Go
Sorry,
on.
go on.
No, I was just gonna say, my niece turns 25 tomorrow, and we were round at my sister's yesterday, and it was like my brothers, my sisters, my other niece whose daughter is actually like near to my daughter's age, and we were just talking about our parenting styles, and we had a moment with the kids. So these are like preteen and teenagers, and we had a moment where we were telling them how they get on our nerves. And then they were saying, but you guys do this and you guys do that.
Nice.
And why do you say this? And like all of the parents were kind of saying a similar sort of thing. And it was just so funny to listen to them and their responses of why they act the way that they act.
What were some of those things? What was there some of their points to why you guys got on
So
there?
we were saying stuff like if they are rude or have a tone or things like that, we'll take their devices off of them. Like all of us actually said that. And you know, we were talking about them not cleaning up after them. It's just not basic things, nothing really bad. But some of their responses was really funny. It was like, well, you know, like, and then you lot will shout at us, but we're not allowed to shout back. We're expected to stand there and take it. And it's like,
yes.
Yes. Yes. That's how it goes. That is the
And then we were saying stuff to them like, well, you know, like when we tell you to do something, it doesn't start off shouting. We start off by saying it all nice and calmly, and you lot are like, in your own time, do, you're going to get to it. And then if we have to tell you 3 and 4 times, then by that time we're aggravated, isn't it? And they're like, yeah, but you know, we're going to get to it. No, get to it now. If you know something irritates your parent or you've heard it a few times, just do it. Because we don't want to actually shout at you. We don't want to get to the point where we're shouting. We don't like the repetition of it all either. So it was just funny listening to them and their little ideas of how we're frustrating to them.
I mean, do you feel pressure, Nana, to be your son's friend?
No.
You and your husband?
No. No, I think, but they're too young as well. And no, I don't have that. And I don't mind, although it kind of hurts, like if I upset them, like internally, I do get like a little pain each time that takes place. But I'm also very aware of, I want them to be effective and not spoiled. So that overrides my thing of, oh, I upset him. That overrides that pang is, I'm trying to make you the best person out here, really.
The best
and
human
to do that, to be the best human. There is like, I always think of, I always imagine it's either a Nigerian parent and a Chinese. And you know, when they're like, dude, go on the piano. And like, it's like, I don't want to be that parent, but I admire that they shape their child into something. So I want to do it in a nicer way. But sometimes when I'm feeling a bit soft, I get my inner Chinese Nigerian parent on. And it's like, no, they are going to be A students. Like I psych myself up for that.
I know what you mean. I think, well, I mean, my child's now done and dusted. I'm not done and dusted. So there's life things that we got to go through. But I was definitely soft and hard on her when I was younger. Not as hard as we've spoken about, not as hard as I thought I would be. I definitely didn't bring in the beating, which I thought I would be just a general smacker. But there is that pang, and especially for me coming from a traumatic childhood and wanting her to have the best things in life, for me as a mother, that meant my parenting style, not that I had any planned or anything to go against. I do think, I said the other day that I watched all of the Cosby Show. I definitely have been influenced by that show. Something came through because there's so many things they do. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. That is how they resolve the kids. That is how I resolve with Amma. But there are those moments when it's like, yeah, I could have done this a bit more. I could have been a bit more stricter about certain things, not life damaging things, because it's just tidying up. I kind of removed that responsibility from her because I was like, I just want you to enjoy being a child, because everything else going on in your world is not as childish as it should be. You're being adultified in other areas, but in your home bubble, I want you to play and be free and color. And I'm stopped short of her coloring the walls, but she could have if she wanted to. If she wanted to color the wall, I kind of would have let her have a corner if she went that far. I kind of would have been, but I was still strict.
That was definitely my mum. Definitely allowed the boys to just write on one wall, and I was like, how? I remember walking up the stairs and seeing, especially Jaja, he was a scribbler. I'm like, you've just scribbled on your grandma's wall, and she's like, oh, leave him, leave. You know, you're like, who is this person?
Yeah,
Who
I
is this
wasn't even
person
allowed
that
to
has come
touch the
along?
walls in my house.
Exactly. I had to wash the walls every Saturday. My man's scribbling nonsense with crayons. There was a permanent marker that he did. I'm like, I don't understand who this woman is. Like, she would have had a heart attack. It would be like, what about when the visitors come? Now it's your grandchildren. You don't care that they're just messing up your yard. Like, no one.
The amount of times my mum would
No,
say, "Oh,
man.
just leave her." It's like, what do you mean, just
No.
leave her? No. And I look at her like, what are you talking about?
It's too much. It's too much.
But yeah, like,
So
I
that's where
don't
they
feel-
got to run ragged.
I don't feel like I need to be Egypt's brethren at this point. I don't. Like, I'm trying to, same as you, Nana, I'm trying to raise her. I'm doing it on my own as well. You know, I've got a great village, but I'm doing it on my own. I'm trying to raise her to be a decent human being and to be able to sustain herself as well. Like, I'm not at home. She definitely doesn't do the level of stuff at home that I did when I was her age. She absolutely doesn't do that. But at the same time, I'm trying to make sure that she knows how to do certain things.
Yeah.
I don't want no
Yeah.
whatless girl. She's got to be able to be independent.
Exactly. I think for me, I kicked in like when she turned 15, 16, possibly. That I was like, I'm not cooking for you anymore. You figure it out. So every other weekend, it'll be your turn to cook, and that's how she's a brilliant cook right now. So those are the things. It was just tidying up. I was a bit lax on, but maybe that's just me myself.
I actually think that's an all right age though, because I feel again, like we spoke about, I definitely did way too much young.
Yeah.
Like, so I was firmly a latchkey kid anyway. And then, so as a latchkey kid, you've got to cook for yourself, especially that when you first come back from school. But then also, then there would be the evening meal that me and my brother had to do for quite a few years. And we were young. He is 5 years older than me, but we were still young kids, kind of fending for ourselves and growing up. Like by 16, kind of similar to Sade, I was then sick of it because I had done too much. So cooking never feels like delightful for me. It really genuinely feels like a chore. And now with the kids, I think they need to know my dishes, and I've got to try and find love for it. Like, but there's quite a few years of trauma in having to make soups and getting cussed that it wasn't quite nice enough, then going to knock on my dad's door and being like, the dinner's ready. Like, there's a lot of traumatic things in mealtime because I wasn't just being a kid and I couldn't just rock up to a table and just eat. I had to make the meal and then be like, this isn't very nice. But if you've got an 8-year-old making soup, it's probably not going to be very tasty.
Yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't have thought.
I didn't have that at home. I didn't have to cook like that at home at all. Like like my grand, because I suppose my mum worked shifts in it. So like when I was before she got married and we moved away like to live with my stepdad, I'd spend a lot of time at my gran, and that was at a point when I was very young. That was in the days when my gran used to cook every day. My grandparents, should I say, used to cook every day. So I didn't ever have to do anything like that. And then on a Friday we'd have KFC. So we didn't have to do anything like that. And my mum is mad. My mum's not really. She didn't really show me how to cook like that because she worked shifts. And then when we moved in with my stepdad, he did a lot of the cooking as well. So I didn't have that. But then because I moved out so young, I had to do those things. I had to do other things at home. Like I had to look after my brothers. I had to do that. You know, like, and I had to, like, everything to do with me. I had to do, like, wash, iron, all of those things. I had to do those things very early on for myself. It wasn't like anybody was doing that for me.
I think I felt actually in my home, when you're talking about shifted, that I was thinking the other day, today, my daughter was packing her handbag, and the sound of someone rummaging through their bag, I like the sound of it. There's a kind of, the way it sounds, I like that. But then it made me also think about whenever I used to hear my mum's keys in the door and how I used to feel like, what's going to happen now? Not because I was beaten or anything like that. It was the lecturing or the talking or the telling that I've done something wrong or something like that. And it was that I was very isolated as a child. Even though I've got siblings, I grew up like an only child, and my mum worked all the time. So I was very, very much alone. And so I didn't do, my mum always cooked for me, but even that standing next to her in the kitchen and cooking with her was never a thing, because I didn't want to hear any negativity. So I'd always remove myself from the kitchen. So when I left home at 19, when I was like, I'm done with this regime, I couldn't cook. I remember cooking for a guy that came to see me. I was one of those, what kind of modern woman bullshit is this? I didn't know what I was doing from what I wasn't doing. It was only till I had Amma and I had to like, okay, let's look at what I can do and draw from it. And I actually think, which no disrespect to my mum, mum's a brilliant cook and I remembered stuff, but that moment when Amma's other grandmother going to that house and just sitting in the kitchen because there was nothing else I could do because her dad wasn't nice to me. It was that moment of being in the kitchen. That's where I had that mother-daughter moment, which I didn't have when I was younger. So just cutting onions and learning in this new space, that's where I had that mothering moment, which I think I put into Amma, like I made Amma be in the kitchen with me when I was cooking.
That's nice though. I feel like it's crazy because I think that Egypt's always like, oh, can I help you? And
sorry,
then in my
can
head,
we
I'm
do
like,
a quick
oh yeah.
welcome to the family, to Sasha P. Welcome. Thank you. Welcome to the family. Yay.
Welcome.
Yeah. Say what
I
you're
was
saying.
just thinking, it's funny that you say that because I've never thought about it like this. But when Egypt's always like, oh, can I help you in the kitchen? Like cook dinner and stuff like that. Sometimes I'm a bit like, oh, because
Yeah.
No. I'm getting into it. I'm trying to explain you why I think that it is. And I think that it's because I didn't actually have that. I didn't stand in the kitchen for my mum cooking. And then there's this element of I just do it on my own, isn't it? Because I've always just done it since I left home. I've just always done it on my own. So I have to kind of force myself into the, okay, you can do this part or you can do that part. There's a little bit of control freak in me as well, but I have to really force myself into let her do that because I can't say that I learned to cook for my mum. I didn't.
I think, and that it's that part.
I'll tell you a lie. The only thing I learned to cook for my mum was macaroni cheese.
Oh.
That's what she taught me.
I think, the thing that for me was pancakes. My mum was the dab hand at pancakes. So that's the one thing that I always remember. And I remember she used to let me lick the batter. I think that there are some things, obviously your brain kind of warps memories.
Oh my God, the batter thing, yes. But that was with my sister, I think more. They merge into, I definitely had that standing in a kitchen, being taught things, but also there being a lecture with it, like not being great at onions, like just various things. It's like, this isn't your forte. But I'd always been very prideful of my hands. But like when I was a kid, I was always like, I have to ensure my hands because I'm so good with my hands. And so being able to sew and like being a dab hand at things like that and hair with cooking, getting criticized, definitely. I think that's the thing. It's like my mum never knew how that would knock my confidence because I always presented very confident. But it's like when you think you can turn your hands at things and then you can't, that always knocks me still to this day. That's why it's like, if I don't get it straight away, I'll just be, I can't do it. I'm not going to learn that. Like computers, some computer bits, I'm not going to learn it and then I'll get Russell to do it. But because I find I can do things quite quickly, when it doesn't come easy to me, oh my God, my confidence, it's my ego. It's literally like a child. It's so petulant. It's there, like, just don't do it then. You're shit at it. It's really bad.
Yeah, I think it's unpacking that moment. And again, when things resurface on the lips, like just literally today, hearing those keys and having that moment, like, keys. Even just the rustling of keys and hearing the key in the door and just like,
oh my God, I had that for years. But now I know at that moment in time, I think my mum was going through the menopause.
Okay.
So, but you don't know how that can change somebody's personality. And it's like, now I'm here and I have more people around me who are going through it. It's like, oh, yes, so they're moodier. My mum was bloody moody, but I thought that was her. I didn't know that was probably that time. Now I'm thinking of the age she was. Yeah, it's like, it's menopause, it's change of life, it's stress. But she could come home sometimes and it would be, you'd want to go and hide. And you don't want to get cuffed out. Like, but then it got better as she got older, and it's like, yeah, that's your hormones changing, and so I'm being very aware of that as well. Like, I know that I can be very switchy at this moment in time. It's like, yeah, I've got to get my moods leveled out. They're gonna obviously want to go and have therapy, but I don't want to be the cause of all of their therapy sessions.
Yeah.
That part. I think the counter for that for me is when I know that whenever I put I think 90% of the time, I'm sure there's times when she's like, oh, for fuck's sake. But when I put the key in the door, my daughter smiles. Like, I get a smile when I come home. And usually it's like, yeah, mommy, whatever. And even if I'm getting on her nerves, there's still a way in to make her smile. That is like job done for me. We'll get some comments. I'm going to go to a bit of a darker side of a parenting story. Asha P says, same Farrah, we had to take it because it was better than the alternative. Oh, if we talk back, we probably would still as adults be talking to the ancestors. I don't know what I was supposed to do, so I picked that up. Will Smith, the Asian tiger mum thing never took off here. It's interesting that we as a community have not looked to the Chinese parenting example instead of focusing on youth centers, music and gaming. Well, Nana did use that as an example. Maybe you said that before, Will Smith.
Yeah.
Stephen A says Montessori method grandparents are a menace.
Why are you describing it? Oh, perfect, Stephen. It is Montessori. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they know about conscious parenting.
Listen.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, what? I remember my gran, saying some stuff about like the great grandchildren, and it's like, hold on, who are you? Because even as a grandparent, I didn't have that from her. But the great grandchildren, oh, she's not humbugging anybody. What are you talking about?
Miss Prestige says this is a really good convo. My daughter is 16. It came natural. She actually enjoys it. She cooks, and
I love that.
Life skills are important. I love going shopping as a kid with my mum and learning how to pick fresh meat, fish, veg, and fruit. Seal and deal on. We did do the shopping, and we did. There was a moment of going to the Saver Centre. When that came to Collier's Wood, that was a big thing. The massive Saver Centre, and going there and getting all the things. And when you do compartmentalize your memories, especially if you hold on to the negative ones. Actually, even speaking about this right now, I remember when my brother was still with us at home, going to Saver Centre, that being a thing. And mum always had our crisps, we had our burgers, we had our chips, all the 80s food. So we had everything. I didn't want for crisps, for drink, for sausage rolls when I ate pork, all those things that a kid.
Everything I wanted, I would have in the house. When it was me and my mum, everything I wanted, I would have. Absolutely all the name brands as well, I would have in the house. Everything.
I never wanted for me and my brother. And I remember I used to eat toast and honey, just stacks of it, and read books. There was always honey, always the right bread for me.
Jam and bread.
It was jam.
Mine was honey.
Batter those. But I used to have to go, me and my cousins would have to go to the market as well with our grandparents. That was the older cousins. We'd have to do that a lot, take the trolley. I remember there was a trolley, but there was the regular trolley, but we also had this flatbed thing that we'd have to take sometimes. Yeah, and get the calagas, all different types of things that we used to have to get, man, for my grandparents.
I loved a market shop. That I actually really enjoyed doing. I mean, I still love going to the markets now, but I loved going to the markets and the big Sainsbury's when they started to come along.
Yes,
I loved all of that. Oh my god,
uncles and my aunt. Do you know what I've just remembered? This is so wild. I actually forgot this memory. My uncles and my aunt worked in Sainsbury's in Ladbroke Grove. I actually forgot that they did that when it opened. Really? And then I worked in there when I was 16. I really forgot that. But yeah.
I'm sure when you was there, my cousin was working there. She was there pretty from jump. But Labatt Grove was we didn't go there too often. It was a little bit further. But Camden, when that opened, and then Swiss Cottage, Finchley Road, when that came along, oh my God, that got battered. We was in there all the time.
When we moved, it would be Alberton. So that's the one that we used to go to in Alberton, like when we moved to Sudbury. But it's mad. Like, I used to love a market shop. When we used to go in the cash and carry, the guys that used to run it used to be like, oh, to my gran, oh, hello, auntie. Like, it used to be so cute.
Yeah, actually thinking about that, going to Ballon Market, and I think when I had a stepdad, we used to go to somewhere where he used to always, he was the sarsaparilla era. We used to get
God, and the big liters. The
big gallon ones.
Yeah, the gallon.
Used to love it, I think. And I remember that was a thing. And I remember going to Harrods and mum getting me the donuts from Harrods, and they were the best donuts ever. And there was so they were we have to lean into remembering.
My mum still goes to Bush now to get her meat.
Yeah.
She's not, my mum has not lived in Shepherd's Bush for decades. She still goes there to get her meat.
But you keep your same ones though, innit? It's like Shepherd's Bush was a standard. Then after a while, my mum used to come all the way to Dalston, and I'd always think that's so strange. Why are you traveling to East London? Like, yeah, I know your mum does a mission as well.
Listen,
I think it's weird.
I told you the other day that mum literally she's like, let's go and get plantain from Dalston because of but this wasn't a traditional thing. Normally it's south. She'll go to Croydon. She's slowing down. She's accepted Bush is okay because she lives in Fulham. But
you can get everything in Shepherd's Bush.
But old people and their prices, and especially even if they've got a relationship with the butcher man. I know
that was all right in Shepherd's Bush actually. It's not too bad.
We know this, but she had to take us.
Dalston ain't even the best place anyway. No, I try not to go there.
When we got there, it was bollocks, and that's the thing. She was like, "Oh, yeah. She actually apologized for that." Ruth, Bruto, this is the point. My daughter never wants to cook. I think because I learned too early, I don't want to pressure her. Her natural interest will kick in. How old is she, Ruth? I can't remember how old she is. I guess there's that thing, like, and that's where you need to cook. Is she too young to then put that on her? Or
but there's cooking, and then there's cooking.
Yeah,
you know, there's the cooking that Nana
helping with
preparing the meal. That's a lot on a child to do.
Yeah,
like you know, but then there's helping your parent to cook. It's different.
Oh, yeah. 11. Ruth, just do little baby steps, but definitely you kick into, you got to start preparing things. I think 14, 15, you give her something, like, you know, she's got to do a little bit. But and for all of them as well, it's like the boys love baking. They got that from my mum. But now, naturally, they are like, I want to cook a meal. So there's no pressure. But when they're 14, 15, no, you're going to be cooking meals. Like, but not too young. 11's
like, 11. She doesn't really cook too much. Like breakfast, she crack on and do all that yourself. But yeah. It's not like she's in the kitchen making big meals, but she wants to help.
Oh, Stephen A. counters. He says, no, get her cooking now. Don't make them be them girls in the halls who always teething people's food from the fridge. I mean, you know what? It is what it is.
Definitely for 14.
Yeah.
You can't go uni.
You're saying 14.
Yeah, 14, like, but she can't go uni and not be able to cook.
Yeah.
When she hits school, she's going to get a shop. She's going to be doing a few things.
Yeah.
Secondary school.
I did. Yeah. I think with AMS, like you've got to start getting your shit together, and it's little things. And it's like, no, you don't have to cook. Is it little things? Is it use that time to be talking and say, oh, pass me that? Because AMS like to be under my arm. You did like, oh, pass me the carrot powder, pass me the seasoning, pass me an onion from the fridge. There's things like that where they feel useful.
Yeah.
They're being asked to do chores.
Wash the veg.
It's like, you know, they start to introduce like, oh, what do you think? Like, taste this, and do you think, what do I need? It's those type of things. You want to trick them, especially if they're showing resistance. There's ways to like, taste this a minute. What do you think I need? What do you think? And then do it like that. Do it like a game or something like that.
Yeah. Like to just slightly kind of get involved. I mean, if you see anything on TikTok, when I see something a little bit quirky, I'll show the boys. So we did the oxtail. So Akai made the oxtail base, and then I made the macaroni and cheese that goes on top. As I said, that was very much big back behavior, but it was delicious. But he got involved in it.
I got to make a turkey stew version.
Yeah,
that's what I got to do, because obviously.
Oh yes.
don't eat that red meat stuff no more.
It's nice, man.
That's a way.
It looks
nice.
delicious. I saw it on TikTok. I was like, that is delicious.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see. I was going to go to a darker story, but I think we probably got to wrap up soon anyway. So actually, let's show this big back behavior. What was it? Oxtail cheese
and macaroni.
Macaroni cheese. There's a
Macaroni
whole
cheese.
series with them. There's a guy that does a whole different bunch. It's delicious.
Okay. For
if
you
eat
big
that
backs
shit.
out here, oxtail is on. What was it on TikTok? Smoked oxtail cheese. No, this
I don't know if it was smoked, but it kind of was in a whole pie.
Yeah. Hold on, I'll see if I can find it.
All right, let's have a look. Oh, here we go. Braised oxtail mac and cheese recipe. Okay, here's one of them.
Is it all in one pot? Let's see.
Wait.
Oh my God, it's making me want to make it again, but I'm not going to do it. I'm trying to lose weight.
Wait, it's trying to make me do things. I'm not a TikToker. Okay, thank you. Now let me pause that. Wait. All right, guys. It looks yummy though. It does. Okay.
Right, let's see if we found the right one.
Yeah, it might be this guy. Hold on, I might have found one.
All right, cool. This one? Is this one of them? Is this different? It's not it.
Let's
Or is
see.
it canned? Okay.
Mac and cheese.
Let me see if it's the guy.
Oh no.
Oxtails fall off the bone tender.
No, this isn't it.
I'm about to show you how.
Okay, let's go.
It is a black man that's cooking it, but it's like he does it in individual pots. I didn't obviously have that, so it was oxtail and mac and cheese on top. Oh my God, these look so nice. Mac and cheese patties.
This one, pot pie.
Yeah, it's that one. That one. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Life-changing, juicy, tender oxtail
Oh, God.
concealed
This is the
by
guy that I'm
a
talking about as
crust
well, Nana.
made of creamy, cheesy mac and cheese. This is what dreams are made of. You deserve this. Let me show you how easy this is.
This
Season
guy
oxtail
makes
with salt,
insane food.
pepper, allspice, oregano,
Exactly.
red onion, bell pepper, green onion, ginger, garlic, browning, and thyme. Mix until fully combined. Just like that. Caramelize some brown sugar and saute the marinated oxtail on all sides. Using the leftover marinade, deglaze the pan and return back the caramelized oxtail. Add water, thyme, and cook until the oxtail is falling off the bone. Just like that. Skim excess oil and add ketchup. Once the gravy is thick, add the shredded oxtail. Transfer to ramekins, add shredded cheddar, and top with some homemade mac and cheese. And of course, more cheddar. Bake until it's golden brown and beautiful. That perfect bite you've been asking for is waiting right here, just for you. Trust me, this is life-changing. Juicy.
And when I tell you, it was so delicious. Oh, I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it again. He has too many things. I'm not doing it again.
I have spent like hours just looking at his food. Some of it I don't even eat anymore. But
because I love cheese as well, so it's like I love his stuff.
Delicious. He does like a
This
crab. Yeah,
is
that.
life-changing.
This is
Golden
delicious.
fried chicken,
another thing he
crisp
does, like a
lettuce,
crab
enveloped in a rich
brioche
homemade Caesar
thing.
dressing, tucked into a toasted croissant. You deserve this. Let me show you how easy this is.
You don't
Marinate chicken
deserve it.
thighs with
Nobody
soy
deserves
sauce,
this.
sesame oil, garlic,
deserve
onion
this.
powder, salt, pepper, 1 egg, cornstarch, flour, and rice wine vinegar. Mix and set aside. Combine 1 egg, red wine vinegar, garlic, anchovies, Dijon mustard, lemon juice, Parmesan cheese, olive oil, and black pepper. Season with salt to taste. Blend until it's nice and smooth. Just like that. Fry the chicken
Just like
thighs
that.
until they're golden brown and beautiful. Just like that. Mix together romaine lettuce, the homemade Caesar dressing, Parmesan cheese, and toasted panko breadcrumbs.
Come on.
To the bottom half of a toasted croissant, add that creamy Caesar dressing, a crispy chicken thigh.
What is
that
this? This is
perfectly dressed
2,000
salad, more
calories in one
Parmesan
too.
cheese, and of course, more dressing. This combination of ingredients is too heavenly not to share. Guaranteed to
No, I know, I want you
satisfy.
to scroll.
Trust me, this is life
No, my mouth
changing.
is literally watering like a cheese.
Look, yeah, scroll. Seriously.
No, this is all cheese.
No, it's just full of cheese. But I love cheese.
And he's got desserts. Keep going. You're going to
No,
see
I
some of
just
his
wanted to- I just
desserts.
wanted to see. I wanted to see this. Oh,
Somebody said, and his profile is Big Mac.
yeah, because what the hell? What's this?
Look.
Oh,
exactly. Look at the
Yummy.
cheese.
I could
in the
try
middle.
the drink.
Look. Did you see that cheese? Did you see that thing? Whew. Look, the cheese.
Oh, that looks lovely. The scampi.
Well, you lot, you know what? I can't see your. Wait. I can't see your. Wait. Can I just say something? I can't see
that croissant thing. Look at the croissant thing.
I'm saying I can't see you lot's faces. All I'm hearing is wow.
Look at the thing. Look at the
No, I
croissant.
said
You've
I
never
can try
had
the
croissants
drink.
like this.
Look at
Golden,
that.
flaky, buttery crust filled with a combination of cheeses, herbs, and spices. A delightful crunch with every bite. This is a combination you never knew you needed. Let me show you how easy.
No, don't fucking show me. Don't fucking show me.
No. It's when he says, "Let me show you how easy it is." No, bro. No, we don't want to have big back.
That's not nice. Oh, the brownies. The other day.
Oh, that looks delicious.
A meatball hot pocket.
Hot pocket.
A meatball hot pocket.
Crispy garlic butter crust stuffed with mozzarella
Look
cheese,
at all the oil in this.
marinara sauce, and juicy meatballs.
No,
the
stop
cheese
it,
pull
man.
is always epic. Simply out of this world. Let me show you how easy.
No, you don't fucking show us nothing.
Go back. Keep scrolling.
Farrah, stop getting your food porn.
God.
This is what I do. I look at food things.
To be fair, I do. I've got a file.
I literally do this all the time.
Yeah,
I didn't even want to go down the rabbit hole with this guy because it's just
I've
too
been
much.
down the rabbit hole. And
Yeah,
there's
no,
another guy as well.
I see
There's a guy that was homeless and he cooks shit too. Like,
oh, crispy chicken with creamy pesto. I can't.
so much good stuff.
Because do you know what? His page has actually improved as well. He's been doing this to the
Yeah,
point.
it has.
Yeah.
Look how much better his videos are. It's amazing.
Yeah. Hold on, what's this ASMR? Let's see. Oh, he's not doing.
No, he's got better. Well done, bro. I love to see it.
Scroll back up. Let's look at that big. There was like French toast.
No,
French toast dessert thing somewhere.
This one.
Oh, bless him, man.
Lemon
He's
cream,
content.
honey toast.
Oh, but hold on, sorry.
A heavenly lemon-infused whipped cream, adorned with a drizzle of lemon honey butter, a fusion of sweet and tangy flavors, crispy and caramelized to perfection. Truly,
I would love
the
this.
match made
Oh
in
my
heaven.
God.
Let me show you how easy this.
Without the cream, I'd eat that all day.
I'd eat it all.
Eat it all. I deserve it all.
Up.
If he had a restaurant, oh my God, I'll dine
Look,
there all the time.
look.
Like,
Can you see? Not that.
Oh, so I don't know. You just said, look, can you see?
The French toast thing. Yeah, that. What's that?
Right, this French toast. It's gonna have egg on it.
I love French toast.
Oh,
that egg, I love it.
Look at that.
Oh,
glorious.
These are bastards. You know that.
yeah. Can we see what the red drink is, please? Because it's the only bit.
Have you ever seen a
What did he
drink
make?
this refreshing? Made simple with the juiciest watermelon, the vibrance of cucumber, mint, and fresh lemon. A fruitful marriage that brings forth hydration and satisfaction. Let me show you how easy this is.
Okay, I like that.
Always look for the yellow spot and some imperfections when picking watermelons. If it's heavy and sounds hollow when you smack it, it's ready. Just like that. Cut it in pieces and give it a taste. This one was sweet and juicy. Transfer to a bowl or blender and add some freshly chopped cucumber and mint. I'm using a stick blender, so my container options are limitless. Blend until well
Stephanie
incorporated.
said visual
Pass through a
diabetes.
strainer or cheesecloth to separate the juice from the pulp. Repeat until it looks just like that. Now, transfer to the container of your choice and add some freshly squeezed lemon juice, a little honey for balance. Garnish with fresh slices of
That's
lemon.
a lot of
and
honey.
cucumber. Every sip is so refreshing. Whether you're in Atlanta or Alaska, this one's guaranteed to quench your thirst.
Well, what about
Right, go on, keep going.
Bro, you need to open a restaurant so I can go, man. This
Oh
is
yeah, even that chicken that he made is delicious. How he made that was lovely.
I can't go.
Jesus, tell you.
Lovely. And then listen, no. All right, no.
What's
Enough.
that thing next to the chicken wings?
No, Farrah, no.
Oh,
no,
look at that.
no.
Full of cheese.
Can't. Enough now.
It's
Right.
lovely.
Yeah.
I spend too much time on food stuff. Don't get me started about all the crab things that I watch and all the lobster things that I watch.
The thing is, I'm not even a vocal foodie, but I'm a foodie. The way I love recipes, I'm watching Top Chef right now, another my favorite cooking show. I'm in heaven and I vow to make everything I see. Don't have the time, but I really want to. I might make this, but I'm gonna have to find ways to reduce it. Any other comments before we take leave of this?
No, are we doing? Oh, okay. Was that our final?
I think anything else. I mean, we have more, but I know that everyone we've been on for 2.5 hours.
No.
If you're done so, I always have more, plenty more, but we can.
I can't think of anything particularly pressing. I don't know. Have we covered it?
Literally,
I didn't look at the dot.
There's lots on here, but we can go into so much. So it's either we continue until 10 on the dot, or we stop now. Because there's things we can talk about. How you guys talk to me? Tell me.
I can go until 10. I'm fine.
All right. Farrah Charles? There's a silence in the court. I'm trying to find the story that... I don't want it to be too deep. So...
Bardi Gang said the decision is always down to Auntie Farrah.
I'm not even looking because I'm waiting to hear, like, what's happening. Okay, did you guys see that? This is feisty. Okay, teleperformance. Okay, I'm going to tap into you lot's race.
You've put yourself on mute. You're on mute.
I know. I was just.
But you were talking.
No, I wasn't. I was going like that. I was just talking to myself to get myself set up, to be fair. Sorry, I shouldn't have moved my mouth.
Helpline number.
Right. So, just to set it up, Teleperformance, the world's largest call center operator, has rolled out AI software designed to modify the accents of India customer service agents in real time. A move it claims will boost clarity and customer satisfaction, but which has sparked concerns over cultural erasure.
And hear an Indian accent. It's likely that's where the call is being handled. Now, for many years, foreign companies have looked to India to handle their customer service needs because of lower labor costs. But however, soon enough changes, you might not hear any Indian accent on such calls. A global major call center operator is using AI software to neutralize Indian accents. Well, the Teleperformance, one of the biggest names in call centers, has launched an AI tool that aims to smooth out Indian accents. They're calling it accent translation. The company says the AI tool will help make calls clearer and bridge any communication gaps that might arise from Indian differences. The AI software has been developed by Sanis, a California-based startup. Now, apart from softening the accents of English-speaking Indian employees, the software also offers ambient noise cancellation feature. In other words, not only will the customer hear a clearer, more familiar accent, but they'll also experience a much clearer audio environment. Any background noise like bustling office sounds, traffic, or other distractions will be significantly reduced or eliminated.
Are you happy with this? Is this okay?
I can't lie. I think this is a brilliant idea. And I feel bad for saying it, but I think it's a really good idea. EE still use the I don't know if they're Indian or Pakistani or Bangladeshi, I don't know, but they're not from here. And it would help. I feel like it would help. I don't think it's a bad idea, or bring it back to the country that you're serving. Either or. AI or bring it back to the country that you're serving. That's my standpoint on it.
I would like this not to be a thing. If you're going to have the fucking audacity to outsource your call centers to a country that's doing you a blood clot favor, you're probably not even paying them the proper wages. And they're in call centers all day and getting abused by people because I've definitely been annoyed. I have definitely been annoyed hearing the voice, not necessarily because they're Indian, the voice of somebody that is finding it difficult to understand what I'm saying. So in order for me to get my full anger across or full points across, they're not understanding. And no, let me not say that. To be fair, that has actually happened in the minimum, when I think about it, they're actually being very true. It has happened in the minimum that it's been a language barrier to them actually understanding what I'm saying. It's just because I'm not having the free-flowing conversation that I'm used to speaking to someone with an accent like mine. But that's the part so it's not actually real. It's because people are too fucking racist and prejudiced to like for a minute.
I don't want them to do this because I want to know when you're outsourcing my shit. Because the problem when they outsource it, sometimes when you speak to people who are not from the same country as you, you can't get to the level of the customer service, like the person, like say the supervisor that you want to get to. So if I know that you're outsourcing it, I might hit that in a different way. I might complain in a different way. You know, I might send a letter or rather an email and address it to every single senior that I can, because the poor person who you've outsourced it to doesn't actually have access to the people who are the problem. So no, don't fucking AI their voices. Don't alter. And I don't like them. What word do they use? Neutralizing.
Yeah, neutralizing.
Neutralizing. No.
Yeah,
it's a bit much.
Basically, soften it.
KW,
it's not.
Go on.
Honestly, realistically, this is such an interim, and obviously there's whole industries and people's families are relying on call center work. It's gonna go. Just yesterday, I was learning how to do an AI agent, and if I can figure it out, give me 2 more weeks, I will be able to make an AI agent that I can then help other small businesses like I was in, so they don't have to deal with their customers. Their job's gonna go. We're not having call centers over here. They're not even going to be in India anymore. We're going to be talking to AI. So, this is just an intermediary. The world it's going to be so different in 5 years' time. We're not even going to be talking about it because there's going to be so many things that AI is involved in. It's going to be like, rah, what happened to humans then? How are they eating? Those are the conversations we're going to be having.
We're going to be the food. That's why. You say that.
I'm telling you,
the AI is going to be eating us.
But I think call centers, I worked in them when I was a kid. I think it was important that they were here. It was a route while you were in uni, like you could work in them. But we're not getting them back over here. And sometimes I find it too hard talking to people when they're not from here.
I think there are still call centers here. It's just they outsource them as well. So it's not like you don't ever get to speak to somebody here. Like Yvonne said something as well about rerouting calls. It's as simple as sometimes you can make a call and you'll have someone here, or you put your phone down and you listen to someone again and it'll be in India or one of those. countries.
So
when it
they're using kind of.
Do you know what I find actually annoying, and it's more politically, when it's like, hi, my name's, I'm not going to do the accent, they're not from the UK, they're outsourced, they're not, where they're from, and my name's Sarah, my name's John, my name's David. It's like, I know the world is changing. The fact that you even have to use a Western name or a Christian name for people just to even respond to you, I hate all of that. So I think this is why I'm just like, this is icky. Speaking of AI and its uses and it going rogue, scientists in China have issued a warning after 2 widely used artificial intelligence models demonstrated the ability to replicate themselves without any human help.
And also rather concerning. It actually talks about how frontier AI systems have surpassed the self-replicating red line. And it's pretty incredible what they're stating, because it basically means that AIs can now self-replicate themselves. And this paper explores the major concern in AI. Can AI replicate themselves without any human intervention? And self-replication means that an AI system could create a fully functional copy of itself, capable of running independently. And it might sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, but this is a big deal in real life. If AIs can replicate, they could grow uncontrollably, potentially acting without human permission or even oversight, which could lead to very serious consequences. So we have to know why self-replication even matters. I'm not going to spend too long on this, but we have to think about the severe implications for this. Imagine a robot that not only learns to improve and improves on its own, but also manages to create clones of itself. Now imagine those clones can also replicate. That could lead to uncontrolled growth of AI systems. And that's what they talk about in this paper. And they state that AI systems can currently do this. And they've shown that these systems have actually succeeded. They talk about how, in 50% of the times, a llama model was able to successfully replicate itself entirely.
There's more to this, but just touch on that.
Yeah.
You all right with that? Yeah, you good? All right.
You know I'm not good with that shit. Like, this is what I've been saying.
Yeah.
Careful what you wish for, man.
What are we gonna do? They've unleashed it. It's out. It's like, what we could hope for is like Mo Gaddo says, you hope that AI is going to take over everything, and then humans will actually be in pure abundance, and everything is going to be free because they will solve energy. Like the world will be different, and then we can be like birds, is how I see it. Like then we can do whatever we want. Or they are like, humans are rotters and they get rid of us. It's like, who knows which way it's gonna go, but we've unleashed it now.
We have indeed. Now we've got H&M is working directly with models and their agencies to create digital replicas of 30 different models this year that will be able to use an AI-generated images for purposes such as social media posts and marketing campaigns. The models themselves will own the rights to their twins, according to the company, and will even be able to let other brands use them, including H&M's competitors. The company acknowledges that it doesn't yet know all the impacts this approach will have on models or all the other workers who make fashion imagery possible, such as photographers, stylists, hair and makeup artists, and more. So there's this campaign, I control my digital twins availability. I'm a twin already. Does this mean I have a triplet now? Okay. Find me a way for me to be in New York and Tokyo on the same day. My digital twin is proof that technology can enhance our profession and not replace it. My dad raised me on sci-fi and future tech, so I know he'll love me. She's like me, without the jet lag. So what do you think?
No, but it's going to take away from so many people's jobs, including the models. Because it's like you started that off by saying about makeup artists and stylists and all of these people. If you don't need them anymore, how many people are going to lose their jobs?
Yeah.
And we could get into a world where Joan is awful.
Yeah.
Like the Black Mirror episode where it's just there's clones, not clones, but your image is being used in a way that you don't even know.
Have you watched Black Mirror?
I haven't started watching it today.
No, I'm saving it. I want to really focus while I'm watching it. So maybe tomorrow. Yeah, I think the boys are out. Yeah, maybe I'll try and get through it tomorrow. I mean, the other thing is, it's like, okay, so if AI did solve all of the world's issues, so manufacturing, say, robots are going to do all of that. So you're not going to have sweatshops, and then you don't have the labor costs. So you're still producing and everything would be free. So maybe then it's like, if you needed a phone, you just go to the shop and just pick up your phone, pick up an iPad, like everything becomes free because the robots are doing it all. Or really, really cheap is another way to look at how the world could be. Like, because if you remove costs and everything is super cheap, like electricity, it doesn't have a cost. We're not using fossil fuels anymore. Like, actually, food is being made and it's being farmed by the robots, and AI is making it happen. So all we would do is just go and get what we wanted. Like, we could be like birds.
No.
You eat when you want to eat, you do what you want to do, and then you just create art. And then we're just out here doing plays and swimming.
As much as I'm like with you on some shit, that is so woo-woo that I'm actually even want to fight you for saying this, because
why could it not be the world?
Like, read this Celine Delon thing. What she said.
I'm going to play a video for this as well. I've had this on the doc as well. The number of servers and power needed to run AI will see it becoming a problem rather than the solution unless alternative energy sources are found.
And what is the alternative energy? We have all seen The Matrix. We are the alternative energy.
Yeah, that utopia that you're saying that everything's going to be free.
It will be, because we'll be living in the Matrix. So whilst AI is draining us for our power, we'll be in this world where everything's free and it's lovely because we've become chargers.
We are the cost. And also, these people have shown Nothing is free. They want to make money regardless. They will find a way to tax us for doing nothing. Trust me on
But
that.
the AI will solve it all. So we're not going to have a capitalist society anymore because you can't have that trickle down event. It's like the robots, and they will find what Tesla was saying about free energy. The AI will solve all of that. So we're not going to need and like, you know, Wi-Fi.
Do you actually think, Nana, do you actually think if the robots took over and the way that humans behave to each other, do you actually think that they're just not going to find a way to make humans not be able to make any decisions about what's going on in the world anymore? They absolutely would.
Let's press
But
play.
maybe they'll be better than they may be better than humans.
Maybe.
And
like they may make better decisions.
We wouldn't be free.
Let me press play.
Latest iteration used twice as much electricity as Norwich would use in a year just to train this thing. And it gets very hot while it's doing that. And a lot of that training is done in America and states where it's quite warm. So what happens is they want to bring in air from outside to ventilate and get the heat away from the computers.
Yeah.
So they kind of spray mists of water, and then as the air goes through the water, it cools it down a bit like a sort of an air conditioning system. But we are talking mega amounts of water. So one estimate is that for every time you go on a computer and ask ChatGPT to write you a 100-word email on a topic of your choice, you'll normally put a few different commands in to make it do that. That will use the equivalent of half a litre of water. To train ChatGPT 4, the latest iteration, used twice as much electricity as Norwich would use in a year.
Just as an FYI, this shit isn't cheap.
I mean, I'm not saying this utopia is going to come around before there is the war against the machines, but it's still a potential. Like sometimes you've got to dream these things, innit? Like you got to dream what you want the world to be. I think AI could do that. Best case scenario, it could happen. Everything could become free. Everything is free. It's just they've set up shit to make it have to be monetary, but it could all be free. We could literally walk into supermarkets and take what we wanted.
Speaking of super.
Theft scales leave shoppers feeling like criminals. Customers at a Tesco store are outraged over new trolley weighing scales designed to stop shoplifting. The system checks if the total weight of a customer's trolley matches their self-scanned receipt. If there's a difference, shoppers are pulled aside for a bag rescan. One woman described this experience as humiliating and said she was being treated like a criminal. She was stopped just because of an extra shopping bag she hadn't used. Tesco introduced the scales to stop shoplifting, which is costing UK retailers over $2.5 billion a year. But customers say these checks are turning innocent shoppers into suspects and discourage them from using the scan as you shop service. Tesco's new anti-theft scales leave shoppers feeling like criminals. Customers...
I've not seen them.
I've not seen them yet.
But I don't do that scan as you shop thing.
No.
Nah, nor do I. That just feels like way too much labor along the way anyway.
Yeah.
But what I don't like, because I think, you know, there's a whole thing of we're going into a paperless society, but my Sainsbury's is like, they've got the area where you can self-checkout, and then they've got now, they've obviously to stop thieves, they've introduced a barrier, so you cannot go out unless you show your receipt. The till still the till still says, do you want your receipt? So before I realized that, because I always say no, I don't need it unless I think I'm going to be coming back to bring something back. So I'm like, I don't need the receipt. Got to it, haven't asked for my receipt. Now I have to call the fucking human who is distracted, and there's only one human to every 30,000 shopper in the place. And I was frustrated. You're lucky I didn't want to ram my fucking trolley to get through it. I was like, come on, it's common sense. You've removed all humans, and now you're doing all these things where in the end, you're going to have to call a human to get the trolley through, to check your shopping. And people said, if your shopping beeps at the trolley weigh thing, you got to call a human to rescan and do your shopping again to check what the hell. Charlie.
But it's still faster and cheaper. This is the thing. It's machines. Listen, you You guys in the chat, you can be laughing when what I've said starts happening. You're going to be like, I swear that
you're saying it in some utopia. I'm saying it. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but your take on it is like this wonderful utopia and everything's free and we're just going around and the machine. I'm saying it ain't that. I'm calling it the Matrix. I am saying the AI will be like humans are disruptive, destructive, and dangerous. Let us in. We no longer have fossil fuels and we're not going to use fossil fuels. Let's use humans. Let's breed humans and put them into pods and use their energy. That's what's going to happen.
Oh, what was it that? Oh, I'll find it for next week. But he had a really good way of explaining AI, its neutrality. So it kind of doesn't have that human thing that runs through sci-fi. Like it doesn't have I'm going to eradicate. It would just find a solution. Now, that's not to say that the solution may be we need to reduce you guys by 4 billion.
Exactly. What about the AI the other day that went on strike? Do you remember the robots that started went on strike? What about that? Like, you're glamorizing this shit way too much.
I mean, I just think they've been saying it for time anyway. I can't see how they ain't going to give us a universal wage. You kind of got to. That has to happen. And you got to let our creativity run, because what else are you going to have humans doing? I can't see what else we're going to do. We're not going to be sewing anymore. A robot's going to do it. We're probably not even going to need surgeons anymore, other than supervisor surgeons.
And you know, because someone said you said something about aggressive humans. This guy got mad because he missed his flight. He just missed his flight.
Straight back. I was in Dublin.
Just
But where's the police?
Yeah. How's he doing this in the airport and there's not like coming for him?
They came for him, but they came for him, but what was interesting was this woman. It was a woman, actually. Am I sharing this? No, hold on. That actually kind of calmed him down. It was just like, okay, talking about women who are emotional and unhinged, but what about this woman actually?
Toddler mom is being praised online for intervening with a passenger's meltdown after he missed his flight in Dublin airport.
Well, she's brave.
Right?
This
It was just a quick snap. That is actually one.
Oh, is that all it needed as well? Was just a little pat on the back.
There. She did it like the toddler.
Yeah. A toddler mom.
Oh, but somebody said he was traveling to see his sick mother.
I've seen a few of those. Not a few. I've seen another one of a black guy who also missed a flight to his funeral, someone's funeral, and he went on a bit of a rampage as well. So there is that, but then it's
a backstory, isn't there?
It's always a backstory. It's a lot though.
He was raging. Like, surely that's prison, no? He mashed up the place.
He might go compassionate, and he is white, so
yeah.
There is that.
There is always that.
So I mean, yeah, yeah.
All right. We are at the hour of 10.
We are. You did it.
We did it. All right, guys. So there are lots of nonsense, lots of news, and thank you guys for being with us today. Sorry, I
So to close off the sermon, I'd like to say thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us today. Your generosity is outspoken.
Thank you for your contributions and the comments. We appreciate you sticking with us at this time and putting forth such wonderful thoughts and responses. Thank you, Sasha P. for becoming a YouTube member.
Yay! Go Sasha. Go Sasha. Go Sasha. Go. Go Sasha. Go Sasha. Go Sasha.
Claire wants to know what hair you have used, Nana, before we go.
That's cute.
Oh, it's actually human hair bundles. What I did, I'll share this with the family. So when I had a lot of money, I bought a human haired wig for £600 that I've absolutely never wore. And so I basically cut it up. Next week, I'll show you guys the skeleton of this wig. I cut it up and I was like, I'm going to actually use this now. So I plaited it into my head. So now
Very
I'm going
lovely.
to be buying human hair bundles and keeping this going. Yeah.
This is a nice hairstyle.
Because my hair is very small now. It's little now that I've cut off all the relaxed bits. Got very little. I've got a little afro.
You did a big chop.
Yes.
Rai Rilo, the film with Michael Douglas, is Falling Down, where he just takes his shit out on the world.
Oh yeah, when he can't get his breakfast, and it's like 11:01 or something like that, and he's like, I want a Big Mac, or not a Big Mac, he wants a McMuffin, and they're like, sorry, you can't have your McMuffin.
Yep, that's the film.
Yeah, I always feel like a day like that could come. A day like that could happen, where you're just like, you know what, I'm out here raging.
Yeah.
I get it. I totally get it.
They're pushing us to this as well. They actually are pushing us to be fixed. So I've dropped the trailer in the chat for those of you who don't know or whatever. Guys, you must go because you're not going to try and talk to us and have us keep responding.
Yeah, we're not doing this.
You know, I know. Was it Cher that was asking questions? Yeah. She's usually the best one with her questions.
And Mardi was like, no! Really? It's 10 o'clock. I have not had a day.
Mardi, you're even in the group. You can carry on chatting in the group while I start washing up. We can chat in the group.
There you go. Well, I go and eat my dinner that I cooked hours ago.
Bye-bye, guys.
Toodaloo!
Stay black.
Bye.